don't know. I'm looking, yeah.
Marc Clarke, that's classic. I love it.
Get your damn hands up. I was like, Mom, we about to blow up.
Is that delicious beverage?
Duh.
Preparing students to demonstrate mastery of math state standards can feel like a dull, unending cycle of equations and practice problems. Unengaged, frustrated students can weigh on teacher confidence and lead to uncertainty about overall achievement. Two Ivy League-trained engineers observed this struggle and created a way to transform how students learn the fundamentals of math. Through the innovative Accoletics math program, EDA has helped more than 400,000 students achieve success on state-administered math tests and transformed the academic strategies and performance of schools nationwide. Accoletics' uniquely designed supplemental materials and tools are well aligned to your state standards and provide a clear path to exceed state proficiency standards. Through ongoing professional development, you will uncover common challenges and activate solutions that promise to improve student achievement in your school. By partnering with EDA and choosing Accoletics, you can start to see an unprecedented return on your investment in as little as one school year. Don't procrastinate on giving your teachers the tools to help students achieve their highest math potential. To learn how you can dramatically improve classroom instruction and learning, test scores, and student confidence, call, email, or visit Accoletics online today.
And welcome. Hey! Bootsy, you okay? I see you popping in and popping off. You okay, brother? Can you hear us?
Oh,
Lord.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so actually it's interesting. This is, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who it is, this is my lovely middle child, Skylar. And Skylar is here. Sky Readings. And Bootsy, I noticed you were popping in and popping off. If you are having communication issues,
Mercury
I'm
is
good,
retrograde.
Mercury is in retrograde. Now, people say that. What does Mercury is in retrograde mean, Skylar?
All right, so every time there's always...
Oh, wait a minute. Shout out to everybody who's on Instagram Live. We're doing Instagram Live too. Again, if you want to get read, a paid reading, go to Marc Clarke Media and book with Skylar. She's going to do 10 people today, so get in and make that happen.
I got you.
But free readings, we're going to start with Bootsy. But okay, so Mercury in retrograde.
Well, first of all, isn't it Mr. Bootsy's birthday?
It was his birthday. Bootsy Vegas.
Let's listen with a quick song.
Okay, go ahead, Skylar.
Happy birthday.
No, you'll sing. Go ahead and sing it. He's a band guy. Sing it like you meant it.
Okay. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Is that matcha?
Yep.
No, that's not
snap.
your that's not your business. That's what it is.
Oh, you crazy with it. Okay, so first of all, happy birthday, Mr. Bootsy. Happy year around the sun.
Okay, please don't call me Mr. Bootsy, because you don't have to call me that. Please don't. You can just
What do you want us to call? What do you want to call you?
Bootsy.
All right.
It's fine. Because I have a new name for you.
What?
Your new name is Sky $.
Oh,
Sky dollar sign. Okay, I like.
All right, I like it.
Okay.
Sky dollar sign. That
dollar
is very
sign.
nice.
Okay, so
All right,
again,
don't get into
I'm
the
sorry,
mystery.
Skylar. Hold on one second. Let me again, for those who just joining in. Bootsy, why am I here? What you do today differently, Bootsy? I'm looking at you. You did something different, didn't you?
Well, my office is being renovated.
There we go.
Can
I'm
you
getting a
hear
little
me?
feedback. We're getting a little feedback.
Hold on. We're gonna see something.
Yeah. But so for those who don't know, yeah, Bootsy, you might have to put your headphones on.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me better?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
better.
Okay,
That's
great.
better. Are you good?
Okay, thank you.
So,
I'm good.
for those who don't know, Skylar, my middle child, she's
Sky $.
gifted. Sky dollar sign. She's gifted. She's talented, and
Oh,
Skylar,
stop.
her grandfather Lafayette was a man of the
Morning,
stars, and so Skylar has taken on the tradition, and so she's the second generation star reader.
Oh my goodness.
So now, Bootsy, let me tell you something. This when I married into this family, Allison's parents, if we had a sitcom, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we had a sitcom, it would be I'm from the hood. You know, I live next to the projects. I wasn't in the projects. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
So my mama worked for Social Security. So it wasn't like, you know what I'm saying, Bootsy? You know what I'm saying, Bootsy?
Yeah.
I'm in the neighborhood, but then when I came, you can, Bootsy, go on this journey with me, because you know exactly how this looks. Little Larry, Larry from Springfield, Illinois. Not only, Bootsy, did I get the finest woman in America, who happens to be the most talented. Allison's parents, when they met me in St. Louis, they pulled up in a convertible Saab, and they had
hold on, let me say this. I got so many jokes I can say, but I'm not gonna do it. It's so much I can shoot. Right. I can shoot on this, but go ahead.
Bootsy, you already, the parents look like, again, like they from DC. You know the look in DC.
Oh, I've been here all my life, so.
Right, you know, off 16th Street, Primrose. Now, that already tells you right there. So, myself from Springfield, Illinois, in the hood, I land this beautiful woman. My first visit to Washington, D.C. You can imagine, Bootsy, 16th Street, you turn off. Now, I ain't got these kind of neighborhoods with black folks living in these kind of neighborhoods where I'm from.
The Gold Coast.
The Gold Coast, they pull up, you know what I'm saying? Now, I say it's a sitcom because, you know, 300-pound plus me, beautiful Allison, fish out of water, and then come to find out, Dad, and they're into numerology. Dad's a minister, but he's into numerology, so numbers are important to him. So before we made a lot of moves, it would be like, well, what's the address? And Dad would break down the numbers. Well, and they break down the numbers. So if it was a sitcom, it would be like every time we do something as a family, the parents would have to look at the numbers first to evaluate, right? And so this whole Mercury in retrograde thing, I had no idea about it at all. But they would be like, do not sign a contract. Do not go on vacation, right? They were serious. And so this Mercury in retrograde thing was, so Skylar.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Can I just ask you one question?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the only joke I'm going to throw in here.
Good morning, Deidre.
What do you think her father's first assessment of you was when he saw you?
Let me say it. So the funny part was the first time they met me in St. Louis. So again, their prized possession is in St. Louis, and now they're going to meet this dude that she's so infatuated with, right? Now, what I know now, Bootsy, how marriage works is if mama ain't happy, daddy ain't happy. So we go out together, and the energy was not good. It was not hot. I was not winning. I was not winning, Bootsy. And so mom wasn't feeling me, so dad wasn't feeling me. So it wasn't, they weren't disrespectful. It was just very, very flat. But
you felt it. But you felt it though.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah,
you felt it.
And Allison, well, and actually, Bootsy, I might not even felt it. But Allison's energy was, she was very frustrated. She was upset with them because she didn't know what was going on. She had never really seen this before. She had never seen the disapproval before.
The disappointment, like what is this child doing? This what we paid for? No, I'm sorry.
Right. So that, and to be honest, that was the first. That was the first. And then the second one, the second time, Mom gave the green light, so it was all good. They was in love with me. But the first time, kind of, you know.
What do you think made them nervous about you?
Well,
oh no.
I mean, I'm a
great question, Skylar. Great questions.
Right, like what were you doing?
I think it was. I think, you know, number one, you know, I was definitely not Allison's type. They, you know, a 300-pound bald guy, kind of a DJ. You know what I mean? Kind of like, this is not what we really signed up for. And I just think they thought maybe she was going through a phase.
Really?
But then, but the second meeting, it was all love. And from that point on, Bootsy, through jobs and no jobs, those parents were the absolute, they changed my life.
Aww.
They changed my life. They raised our children. They impacted me beyond measure. And it was, you know, again, I'm stuck with this beautiful, one of my beautiful kids now. So this whole thing about, again, numerology, horoscope, zodiac, Dad was a fan of it, and so he passed it on to Skylar. So Skylar, when we say,
okay, hold on. I just want to say this as I interject. As I told you before, I have a theory on Skylar, and I got a theory on Allison's dad. I always have said this. I know I've talked to you about this before. Allison's father went to Booker T. Washington in Memphis.
Yes.
Maurice White, who was my mentor, went to high school at Booker T. Washington in Memphis. Marion Barry went to Booker T. Washington in Memphis. And in that area, they had that numerology, spirituality thing. And everybody who listens to Earth, Wind, and Fire, there's a song called All About Love where Maurice at the end, he talks about that. So it is, for me, it is really amazing to see this being passed down, but also in that geographical area in which her grandfather comes from, because I do know that they had deep ties in Memphis. And Memphis back in those days was a different place, but it was a deep religious spirituality place as well. So this is fascinating because when I see Skylar talk and just this whole vibe, I see Memphis, I see Maurice, I see how people in Memphis are, because I've told you, I think I have seen all of them interact, people from that generation, and they do remind me of Skylar.
What? Oh, that is the greatest honor. My goodness, that's awesome to hear.
Well, Uncle Troy's Uncle Troy's on the line, taking a break from his news duties in Mississippi. News anchor Troy Johnson.
Mississippi?
Yeah, Troy's in Mississippi holding it down. Kevin from Columbia is in the building. Kevin got a reading last time. All right, so Skylar, briefly, you know, when we say Mercury's in retrograde, it's a communication thing, right?
Yeah, so Mercury represents movement, right? And so what is Mercury? It's a planet in the sky, and when any planets are in retrograde, first of all, in your birth chart, one planet will probably be in retrograde for most people. Like, if you're lucky, you don't, but most people have it. And what that means is that the energy of that planet, the impact that it has on humans is kind of reversed. So Mercury represents short distance travel, so like a bus ride or something, right? Sadly, we've seen a lot of bus accidents kind of always have a natural increase during this time, you know. We have communication issues because the communication is the movement of your mouth, you know, and the movement of the gears in your brain. So it just represents like whenever Mercury is in retrograde, and keep in mind, it happens a lot. So most of the time, it's actually weirdly, Mercury will probably be in retrograde for like a good amount of your life. And so it's nothing to be scared of. And I hate when people make it seem like a scary, terrible thing. It's not scary at all, because you have to keep in mind, some people have it in their birth chart, so they actually thrive during that time. So my only advice for Mercury in retrograde is that if you're somebody who doesn't have a retrograde Mercury in your birth chart, meaning that you weren't born when Mercury retrograde was happening, I would just advise you to be very cautious of your words, because sometimes your words can have an impact you didn't want them to have. You have to be cautious of your traveling, because sometimes you might be like, your brain might be moving quicker during this time, which makes you less focused. You just got to be very cautious, and you can definitely beat it. You can beat the effects of Mercury in retrograde, but it just means to be very conscious. And that's why I always say it's a good time to really think about what you want in life, because your brain is moving so quickly during this time that you can actually really hone in and be like, okay, what are my thoughts and what are like conditioning thoughts, and what do I really want in my life? So Mercury retrograde, you can always make the best out of a retrograde if you just know what those themes are. And for Mercury, it is to be very cautious of how you're moving. It's whether it's working out, whether it's driving, whether it's speaking, any kind of movement, that is Mercury. So you have to be very careful because the energies are reversed during this time.
And you can't be afraid, because you can't have faith.
You can't be afraid
and fear.
Yeah.
You can't have faith and fear.
Yeah.
One more time. You can't have faith and fear. Okay.
Right.
All right. Now
Yes,
we're gonna do Bootsy. Bootsy, you're gonna be a monkey today.
You're
gonna be a guinea pig today.
Hey, and be clear, every day that I come into DPR at this time in my facility, I'm nothing but a monkey for the honky anyway. So
There you go. Okay. So now, Skylar, what is this today we're doing?
All right,
Just for Bootsy. Well, not just for Bootsy, but anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so today we will be doing astrology for most people, but for Bootsy, since it's your birthday, I actually have been dabbling in this other school of thought called human design. I don't know if y'all have heard of it before. Human design is something that businesses and corporations use because it's kind of, instead of how astrology is really your soul's journey in life, like astrology is what will fulfill your soul. Like your North Node, for example, represents the way that you can succeed and make yourself feel like satisfied with what's going on in your life on a spiritual level. But human design is pretty interesting because it's kind of like it's created by this one dude who really was talking about it in the 2000s. Sadly, he passed away. But he really was like he kind of channeled the message of human design, which pretty much, if it is real, then the source, or like God or whatever you want to call it, spoke to him saying, hey, this is a system that shows what humans are designed to do, like your specific role in life. You know how Shakespeare will be like, your life is a play? Human design is like your role. And so it's a little complicated. That's why, Bootsy, that's why you're going to be our test for today.
Our test monkey, Bootsy.
Because
you're a monkey today.
And I'm not going to lie, if you look it up, you might be like, what is this? Because if you want to find more information, a lot of it, because in my opinion, it's so valuable, they don't really want you to know it. It will be like $100 reading for human design. So now what I'm trying to do is really focus in and learn.
It's all good. And be clear, Skylar. I'm sorry, Sky $. I'm open to all of this because my whole life and my whole journey has kind of been like this. So you probably do not know a more open person to these type of things because I believe in them wholeheartedly. And last thing, do you know how the name Earth, Wind, and Fire came? How the group came together? It came from its astrological chart.
Really?
Wow, who knew?
Yeah. And it started in Memphis. So it came. That is, and it was Earth. It was Earth, air, and water. And he changed the air to wind.
Yep.
So and again,
that's the element.
And then and just to say again, we understand.
Awesome.
If you don't believe in any of this, we understand because I think as Skylar knows, I am a Gemini. I'm somebody. Allison says no high highs, no low lows. I can believe it or not believe it.
Yes.
And so if people again, what we got from Skylar's grandfather, what I love so much, Bootsy, was he was a minister. He was this. He was that. Mm-hmm. If somebody rolled up and was like, "I'm an atheist," he'd be like, "Beloved, you're on your journey."
Yeah, and
whatever your journey is, whatever the journey was, right, Skylar? He didn't. He wasn't going to try to convince nobody. Beloved, you're on a journey. Beloved.
And sometimes you need and let's be real, sometimes you need that. And that's why I love astrology. Let's keep it real. Dad might be a Gemini sun. I'm a Gemini moon. Okay. I
don't know what that means.
All right. So that just means that, your moon, this is how my emotions are like a Gemini's, in which I'm with that too. And actually, it's funny because before we do our Bootsy's chart, I was thinking about how I remember in 2015 or something, when I was 13 or something, I looked up human design because everyone was talking about it. And I was like, this is some BS, but then I came back to it. I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. And the reason why is because it's really about with astrology, human design, numerology, you don't have to believe in any of it. Me personally, I'm always questioning it. Sometimes I'll be like, I don't really know what that sounds
including us,
But
Bootsy.
the key is...
including us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the key to human design...
including us, yeah. Ask Allison about the spatula and beating that wall up that time.
Well, irregardless, right? So the key to these schools of thought is really, if you can just take any benefit from it, that's really what the goal is. It's not to make you believe. It's not to make you convert to only believing in it. There's so many things that I believe in. it's really to help you with your life. So if someone tells you, hey, like for you, Boosie, like you just said you're like investigative, you're like we did last time, a Scorpio midheaven. So you're like your highest soul mission is kind of to be investigative, to look at different schools.
Well, he's doing that one right.
And so it's not like I have to tell you, listen, you
the
have
questioner.
to do this. Right. It's not like I'm like, yo, you have to do this. This is your life. If you don't do it, no. It's more like, hey, I would suggest you do this. And if not, if you don't want to listen, if you don't want to take the advice, it's okay, because it's all our different lives, you know?
Okay, let's hop on to Bootsy, because he takes up a lot of time.
All right, so Bootsy,
no, I don't.
I know, he is so Anyway, Bootsy, I got your information, but do you remember your time, your specific time, or like a ballpark?
Yeah, I was born.
There's controversy. We think Mama might have lied a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, so technically I was born 12:03, May 30th in the morning. Okay. My mother swears that I kind of was born maybe 11:58ish, 11:59ish. And they just wanted to keep the same day because they didn't want my twin to be born on the 31st and me born on the 30th. That's what she told me. So
okay, perfect. I was worried because Dad told me there was like a bit of flexibility, and I was like, oh wait, was he born in the night or the morning? But this is perfect. Like that's nothing. That's like 2 hours. 2 minutes off. All right, Bootsy, well, let's get into your human design. Okay, this is the testing period, guys, so it might be a little rusty in this, but we're just gonna try. Oh, if it does it. Oh, hold on. You see, by the way, if you want to know this, guys, the viewers, I would recommend going on this website called Jovian Archive to get your free human design chart. And then, all right, so this is, first of all, this is, I don't know if you can see. Oh Lord, I can't.
Don't give up your secrets, girl. Don't give up your secrets. That's fine.
Yeah. Make them pay for it.
All right, yeah, that's right. So human design is a mixture of numerology. There's something called the I Ching, which is like a kind of numerology as well, and spiritual, like I believe it's also like astrology. Like it uses different sources. And like I said earlier, this guy says that he channeled this voice pretty much telling him, hey, you should tell people about this because this is how humans exist, you know? So I'm going to try to make it really, I'm really going to try.
Good. Hold on. You good. And I'm loving it. I'm really excited about it. And be clear, I believe in this. So I know it's real. Trust me. I beat stage 4 cancer twice. Trust me. It was not the medicine that did it. So.
I know that's right. All right, great. So that makes me feel awesome about it. Okay, so in human design, so I'm going to go through your different things and I'm going to explain what they mean. So your chart, your type, you're a manifesting generator. Your strategy is to respond. You're not self-theme. Who you are when you're not yourself, you're frustrated. What gives you inner authority and direction? Your emotions. Your profile, 3-5. You might be like, what are all these? What does this mean? Well, I'm going to get into like 3 parts of it, and then I'll probably hit you with the rest of the reading later. So as a manifesting generator, so humans, our population is made up of, I believe it's 3 kind of categories. It's manifesting generator, manifester, projector, which he is, right? And reflector. Oh, that's 4. And so what does this mean? You know, why are we even talking about this? This represents what your role in life, like how will you find success in your corporate circles, in your social circles, right? And as a manifesting generator, which I am as well, this means that you're somebody who is supposed to have a lot of energy, okay? You're supposed to go forth, and this is the reason why you have so many interests, is because manifesting generators, that's literally why you exist. It's to look into different areas of life. So people might tell you, yo, why didn't you like finish that project or something you said you were going to do? And you should never feel ashamed of that, because that's a part of your nature. You're the explorers of the world. You know, what this means is human design is just telling you the way that you can find success is doing what you're doing, which is looking at different sources of information, seeing which one resonates with you, starting and ending projects. And I just wanted to say, as a manifesting generator, to generate that, you know, that word manifesting, you're speaking into existence, right? Generator, you're working. It means that you're the person who has the ultimate authority of what you want to do in life. And in this human design is telling you, do not let someone make you feel bad for maybe not completing a project. Do not make someone feel bad. Oh, do not let someone make you feel bad for not, let's say, doing something you promised to do. Because what your life is about is to start and maybe not finish, but to start and see different things. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of telling you,
let's say, for instance, you create a great thing, and then for many years, nobody really gives you the credit for it.
Right.
Then when it starts to really succeed, other people will try to swoop in and take credit for, and then all of a sudden put a spotlight on it with plans of, I don't know, maybe moving their favorite person in after you have. But the beauty is, that doesn't mean anything because you can't be stopped. You can't be stopped. You're gonna always create. You're always gonna change. You're a world changer.
Yeah, Kevin. Oh, see, Kevin dropping some knowledge. Yes, that's very true. So I was trying to say that as well, like the I Ching, Vedic astrology, which is Indian astrology, numerology, manifestor generators.
We need Kevin back in the United States. Yeah. Kevin, get your ass back over here. Colombia don't need this.
So yeah, manifesting generator. So pretty much, yeah. So your type, what you're supposed to. Like the type of person you are is who you are naturally. And so the reason you have many interests is because you are a manifesting generator. And that is a flex in my opinion. But now let's look into your strategy. So I'm really going to could you drop the link to that website in here by any chance?
Which one?
Jovian Archive. Because you'll see the layout so you can see where I'm coming from. It's called jovianarchive.com.
Yeah.
But now your strategy, right? So you're
put him to work, Skylar. Put him to work.
You put in the link, right? But your strategy, right? You know how I mentioned that your strategy represents how can you go about living your life, right? How do you go about finding success? That's what this is all about. So your strategy is to respond. And what does that mean? When you respond, when that's your strategy, life is supposed to give you things to look at and be like, okay, this is interesting. Oh, okay, this isn't interesting. An example of you using your strategy is someone comes up to you, right? They say, or let's say died, right? He's like, yo, Boosie, I'd really like you to be on my morning show. You would respond to that and be like, you know, I think that sounds awesome. Or, nah, that's not really my thing. You're supposed to trust that first response. That's a strategy for you. You're not supposed to, when you have the strategy to respond as a manifesting generator, the thing is, when you're a manifesting generator, you're kind of like a rare breed because generators make up most of the population. A manifester makes up like a very small amount of the population. When you mix them together, you have that ability to manifest, which means you have that ability to ask someone else to do something or initiate something, like if you have a project, but you have to really make sure that feels in what's the word? Alignment with you, because if it feels off, if it feels like, okay, I think I'm gonna do this business, I don't really know, it's not gonna work. You have to be completely sure about it. And that's the only difference with a manifester versus a manifesting generator. Because a manifester is like, it can initiate things even if it doesn't feel right, but a manifesting generator needs to know that it feels right for their life, you know? So yeah, your strategy in life should be to look at anything, whether it's, since it's responding, even if there's like a cloudy sky, you know, you might be like, you know what, the sky's cloudy, I don't think I should go. That's how you should go about your life. You shouldn't make people like we said earlier, you shouldn't make people force you to do anything.
He already doing that.
That's not your life goal. Your life isn't to be kind of like, you know, someone telling you, hey, the sky's nice, go outside. Even if it's a nice day outside, you could be like, I don't feel like it.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough on that one. That's a Bootsy. Okay, one more thing.
Okay, because there's so many. The thing about human design that I love is that there's so many different.
Hold on. Mark, she's building me up. Let me.
Right. Let me get.
Come on, man. I'm trying to feel good about myself on my birthday.
Right.
Jeez.
Okay. So
thank you. Thank you, Skylar.
Bootsy down.
Dad, I mean, Bootsy, Dad was your first.
Oh, wait a minute. Colombia was in the house, but we got Mikala from New Zealand in the house. Go ahead, girl.
Hi, so anyway, so there's so much more information, so I really feel like I'm doing it a disservice, but I just wanted to say a couple more things because we haven't even gotten into your gates or whatever the thing is. But let's get into your
gates.
I know so for human design, there's these things called gates and channels. So when you look up your chart on Jovian Archive, you're going to see kind of like, it looks like a body graph and a lot of lines and numbers. The gates are the numerology part of human design. And that just represents like the themes in your life that you need to focus on. So one gate that I see you having in here is gate 14.
Well, who in the hell let the gate open?
I know, who did it? Gate 14. I just wanted to say the reason why I'm calling this out is, you also have gate 57. So Bootsy, you really do have a great intuition because 57 is like your connection to source or your connection to a bigger understanding of life. So the reason why you said you feel like it really resonates is because when you have gate 57, and you have it, let me see where it is. You have what's the planet is leading gate 57? Let me see. Okay, so I can't really find what planet. Oh yeah, your Pluto. So that's like your generation. Your generation actually might be more kind of lean towards that understanding that there's something greater out here, you know? And so when you have gate 57 in your chart, which if you look it up after this, you'll definitely see what I'm talking about. It just means that you have this connection to source. You know that there's something beyond this life. And that's why you're so great to have around, because you make people feel like, oh, you know, maybe this life, these routines that I have to go through, maybe it's not that bad because maybe it means something, you know?
Is that accurate, Bootsy, or no?
I mean, it's really alarming because everything that she's been speaking. Before I jumped in here, I had a conversation with my boss about letting my work speak and not responding. Literally, it's kind of
right.
It's really.
I'm telling you. And then the last thing we'll go into, because I know we got to hurry it up, is that you also have, so in human design, there's something called your profile, okay? And so it's kind of like if someone could put you into 2 words, it's who you are. And this is
loud.
Oh, wow.
Loving, really? Loud and loving.
Hold on. Hey, that's the one part I want to hear. Go ahead, Sky Dollar Sign.
This is very important. So 3-5. You know? And so what this means, all right, so I'm going to really try to condense this. Your profile is like your stereotype. And the thing with life is that you're born with this chart, but you kind of go on to make your own life, and you have your own life. So even if it doesn't resonate, this is who you are, your core, and you're a profile 3-5. So what that means is that in human design, there's 2 numbers that make up your profile. If someone could like put you in a box based on your birth, the day of your birth, right? They would say, okay, this dude's a 3-5. What that means is the first number, 3, is your conscious personality, the adventurer. 3 represents the adventurer, the person who bumps into a random person and says, oh, snap, I haven't seen you in 10 years. You want to go like try that new like Chinese food place? You know, number 3 means you're always seeking adventure. You're always looking for knowledge. That's your conscious personality. Your unconscious personality, who you're really like, it's not more important than your 3. It just means the person you are on the inside is the number 5, the teacher. So what you do with your life is that, and the thing is, like, after you reach, there's something called a Saturn return. Once you reach 28, you really step into this number, this like second number, which is your unconscious. So you're the teacher. So what you're supposed to do in your life as a 3-5 is go out, explore the world, find new interests. You're always going to be you're like a student of the universe. So you're always going to be looking for more information. But on the inside, the reason why you're doing that is because you're supposed to teach people. You're supposed to lead people. And they also, you might know that people might have a perception of you, or people might have like a vision of you in their mind. You're supposed to know, yeah, I'm that guy, but I can like, what's the word? Exceed, like,
expand, exceed the level, exceed expectations.
Right, you can exceed expectations because people might, because the 5 number makes you very charismatic and makes you kind of a likable person, right? That's
true.
But the problem is sometimes people want to label you and be like, oh, Bootsy, you know, he does this. But you gotta.
Oh, you mean, wait a minute, you mean like this?
Oh my God, I didn't even recognize.
She said, who is that? They're trying to label my boy.
Yeah, they tried to label you, but listen.
Yeah, and it's so crazy because when Mark came in, he kind of had no idea. Mark called me next day. I was like, man, I didn't know you did all this. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like my other life. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what it is. People, you're unconscious. And it can also mean when it's unconscious, you can mean that you don't know what people are saying about you. Like, oh, he said that I did this. I never did that, you know? But you're meant to just really use your life experience to teach and guide others, because that 5 is a pretty powerful number. You know, 5 is like, when I think numerology, I think like, or when I think astrology, Sagittarius, that's like still exploring. That's like the teacher, like, oh, they call it the sage, you know, Sagittarius is like the sage. So so you got a pretty cool chart, Lucy. And like, yeah, and I'm sorry that I couldn't do it justice by saying everything in it, but it's pretty interesting to look at. So yeah.
Well, let me say this. Mark will tell you this. You were 100% accurate. But, I mean, literally to the core. It was almost, again, it is scary. You were 100% accurate. I appreciate it because you have now keeping me on this straight and narrow. It's so interesting, some things that you said that I already know. You talked about how you like traveling, but you don't like going long distances. My favorite place is Point Lookout, which is only like 30 or 40 miles down. That's the one out of all the places that I could visit this summer. That is the one place I'm trying to visit. And I do love going to research and then bringing it back, teaching broadcast journalism. So you're 100% right.
Yes.
And it goes to my theory again. You're one of the greatest young communicators that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh,
And I really, really, really believe your father and your mama, with all due respect, are doing you a disservice
She'll
by
be
not
listening.
making you do journalism.
We can't make her do a damn thing.
I'm
Bootsy.
actually, the good news is I am going to look into the communication programs that my schools offer.
Okay.
I am.
All right, look.
Yeah,
So let's do
because
Sandra.
hold
Sandra.
on, let me just say this. Thank you, Skylar. You
Thank
were
you.
amazing. And let me just say this: whether you believe this or not, take it from Mr. Uncle Boosie or whatever you calling me. You are a born communicator. Your gift is being able to convey some thoughts, and people your age are not that good in that skill at conveying these messages and building people up. You are gifted. You have a different skill and level of communication, better than your mama, better than your daddy at this stage in your life. And I'm done.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you. That is so kind. I
Sandra,
appreciate
where were you born? Sandra, were you born in
yes, we're
Baltimore?
getting into okay.
Here's Sandra.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Skylar.
Thank you.
Bootsy, you ain't going nowhere. Okay, so Sandra, did you want the horoscope or did you want the human design?
This is okay. Oh, Sandra person. Okay, gotcha.
Sandra, yes. Sandra, I think it's Baltimore. Was it Baltimore,
Right.
Sandra?
Baltimore.
She answering now, I think.
Baltimore.
Let's think it's Baltimore.
Hey, speaking of Baltimore, I can't wait to hear your assessment of the DL Hughley Monique thing, Mark. Since you know both of them really well, at some point we need to discuss that. We need to discuss your girl.
As
Mercy Hospital. Okay, gotcha.
As in Baltimore. So as Skylar's getting this ready. So yeah, you're absolutely right. But so if you guys haven't seen the beef that's going on between Monique and DL Hughley,
Got you, Sin.
it's very she wants horoscope.
No problem.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
She want it's heartbreaking, Boutique, because I think on one hand, again, I'm a fan of obviously fan of both. They're both are my friends, right?
Right. Mine's too. As I preface this.
Monique and DL are both friends of mine. And you hate to see it'd be like me and Bootsy fighting. You hate to see that. Me and Troy Johnson fighting. You know, me fighting with anybody. But first of all, one thing is that's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
Right? That's not gonna happen. That's the one part. That's not going to happen
ever.
With me and Bootsy, with me and Sandra, with me and Troy, with me and Kevin. It's not gonna happen publicly because it have to happen publicly. So Monique goes in on the stage on DL, which already Monique had the reputation, and the reason she kind of went in, even if that was the real case, that it really is kind of like Monique is such a seasoned pro. She knows how it works. I mean, at the end of the day,
I love this PC answer you're giving.
DL is, DL. It was DL's show. You have all the power when you're the headliner. So the headliner can be like, and then he put the contract out the show. You could basically, as you know, Bootsy is worth on the fire. If it's your tour, it's almost like, remember the beef they had when
Mark. You tiptoeing on the marble floor, but go ahead, Mark.
The beef years ago was like Luther Vandross, and they said it was beef with Anita Baker or beef with In Vogue. The problem is, and again, Bootsy, when you're in the business, it was Luther's tour. So it's his tour, so when somebody says they have a beef with the person whose tour it is, it's kind of like, it's not that accurate because it's their tour. And Luther I think Luther even he owned his tours, I think. So that even made it even more. You can have all the beef you want to. And so I think when DL put down the contract, she put out the contract that her husband had. That's a request. That's something you're saying to the promoter.
I know your toes hurt. I know your toes hurt and tiptoeing right now, Mark. I love it. Go ahead.
Well, okay. At the end of the day,
you're dancing around it. You dancing. Ooh.
Okay. At the end of the day, yeah,
No. I get it because you are homies with them. But let me just say this. First of all, I'm cool with both of them, and I got big respect. I've hung out with them and all that. Monique, somebody needs to really give Monique a real assessment of where she is and what's happening right now. Like, to me, Monique, okay, the first time I had an issue with her was when she told Oprah to suck her D, and then you got mad when people was like upset, like when you tell Tyler Perry and Oprah that, I don't know what your response is going to get.
Right.
Number two, bro, when she was upset that Dave Chappelle got the money from Netflix and felt like she deserved it, I'm like, maybe you have an unrealistic expectation of where you are in your comedy career. Nobody's comparing Dave Chappelle and Monique. And then let's just talk about it now. Monique, we like you, but you're not on D.L. Hughley's level. D.L. Hughley is a nationally syndicated television, TV and radio host. He's a successful comedian who does it on a regular. You kind of just like, look, pick your battles wisely. You know what I mean?
Let me interject then. See that?
Tiptoe.
It's not tiptoeing. I'll say. This is what I'll say. I think this is
because I know DL is your boy too. You know, I know that, right?
Right. So the thing with DL is the one probably I have the issue with. The others I don't, because I understand the frustration. Now, this is what, and you just even said. You said DL is not in the same. No, Monique opened the door for the DLs of the world. See, people forget. People forget that. Even just Chappelle, just think about it. When Monique had a show for years, Chappelle was like 18 years old. You know what I mean? She was the first wave. She was the first wave. And you talk about African-American women.
I agree with all that, Mark.
You know what I'm saying? With you. I don't know how many African-American women have had their own TV shows and the success that Monique had. Very few. People forget about that. So the Oprah piece and the Tyler Perry, Oprah, and your boy, they all caught the heat because they tried to use their power and they were wrong, and they got the ears of the public. But at the end of the day, it all started with her doing a favor for Lee Daniels. That was her friend. Right. So it'd be like if Bootsy said, Mark, you hop on this track, and I hop on the track on the strength of our friendship, right? The track goes on to be a Grammy Award-winning album, right? Mm-hmm. It gets nominated for a Grammy Award. Then Bootsy says, hey, Mark, can you go on a promotional tour for free on this album? You know what I mean? That's what happened with Lee Daniels in that movie, right? Mm-hmm. And then instead of Oprah and them, when they called to ask her to go on a promotional tour, instead of them, Lee Daniels saying, hey, she did me a solid. She's working on her own show. She's got stuff going on. If y'all have that conversation, don't have that conversation, Oprah. I'll have the conversation, or I'll pay for it. Instead of doing that, they tried to besmirch her and say she's hard to work with, blah, 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 blah. So I'm okay with how she reacted to that.
Besmirch me.
I'm okay with that one. Now this one. So I'm okay with the other one. I'm okay with all the other stuff. Oprah, Tyler Perry, all those people. I'm okay because they got exposed because they really did try to put her in a trick bag. Now the DL thing, I think she was wrong.
Yeah. And then you go on stage and call him like what do you hope to get out of this? Like, where's this going to go? And and be clear, if you're the headliner, you have that option. That's my point. Skylar.
She obviously the contract shows you want the headliner. And and this is not forget, Bootsy. Sometimes promoters be lying too. At the end of the day, and so knowing all that she knows, she could have just been like, "Look,
let me holler at you, DL."
Yeah, she got played by the promoter. He told me blah 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 blah, and he's like, "Okay, well here's the contract. This is what the contract says. So don't be dogging me out." But anyway, all right. So speaking of Express, someone who does a great job.
I'm sorry.
Besmirch. Thank you very much.
Scott Dollar Sign, ladies and gentlemen.
Now, Skylar, this chart right here, Sandra.
Oh, yes, is Sandra funny?
Sandra is a whole bunch of things. She's funny.
Yep.
Oh, she's funny.
She's funny. She's wealthy. She's talented.
Oh, we said wealthy.
And Skylar.
I see it in the.
But she also is. We all have it. As Sandra already. She's also already a student of the whole thing.
Yeah, oh, good.
Laws of attraction.
I can see it.
She's got unbelievable, amazing stories.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Sandra, first of all, I want to be your friend because.
You are. She's your family.
We're already family because I can see from your chart right now, you have the main. I don't know if people tell you this, but your personality You have a moon in Gemini that makes your emotions, you can get through your emotions with comedy. You got Mercury in Sagittarius. The way that you speak is literally, it lights up people's life. As a Sagittarius Mercury, you're literally, that's Jupiter ruled. So people literally feel lucky to have you as a friend.
Yep.
You have so many things in your chart. If you don't do comedy or something, it doesn't even have to be comedy. It can be something having to do with the more lighthearted side of life. My gosh, your chart, even if you feel like that's not the case, that is in your chart.
Scott, did you say my gosh?
My gosh. I mean, I've never seen a chart. I literally have not seen, like, you have like your, and also look at these aspects. So in astrology, first of all, I'm sorry, I got a little too excited. First, I don't know if y'all have seen me comment here earlier, but your planets in your chart show the different areas in life, or they kind of are like your core parts of your personality. So like your sun represents, you're kind of like your base mood, like, or really how people kind of, how would they characterize you? So dad's a Gemini, for example. He's always talking about something, always kind of being the devil's advocate for maybe the person who doesn't agree. Like just when you guys were just speaking about it, like I could hear like, okay, he's going on both sides, right? Your sun is like how people, it's not even really how people view you. That's more the ascendant. But your sun is like your core personality. You know, once, you know how they say your body's in homeostasis, that's who you return to, like your sun, right? As a Capricorn, even though you have this comedy in you, I see that you're a Capricorn sun, and you also have Saturn in the 5th house. First of all, I just wanted to say, like, good on you for like going through the difficult stages of life. Because sometimes when I see Saturn in the 5th house, I think, you know, this person definitely had to kind of sacrifice the things that you wanted to do. Sometimes like some of your creative side, you might have to sacrifice it for the, I guess, the demands of today's society, you know, as a Capricorn sun. But from the other aspects of your chart, I see this perfect balance between like kind of having a Saturn in the 5th house. So that just might mean that sometimes you feel like your creativity is delayed, or sometimes you feel like the joy is delayed, or the gratification of your hard work is delayed. But I see you really balancing that out with so many Jupiter aspects, which represent your luck and it's funny you say spirituality, because that also represents your understanding of the greater picture, you know? And so what are some things that I see straight off the bat? Venus conjunction Jupiter. Woo, that right there, the universe was like, okay, this person is going to have at some point in their life a really blessed life, as Venus represents your kind of the joy of life. And when you look around, it also represents like your immediate environment and the things that you enjoy. So even it can be down to your house decorations, you know, conjunction Jupiter, which represents spirituality, it represents luck, it represents the higher self. And so this is telling me that, you know, yeah, we're going to make her a Capricorn, and so Capricorn, yes, she's going to have to be very responsible. Yes, she's going to be the figure of the leader in her friend group. You know, yes, she's going to be this guy or this woman, right? But we're going to give her a couple of, you know, more lighthearted aspects to make her life really enjoyable. So North Node, that represents like your soul mission, right? What are some things you can do to make you feel happy about where you are in life? You have your North Node in Aquarius, which is very interesting because I see a lot of people, first of all, when your North Node, the people around you, your friends in the same year as you will probably have a similar North Node, as it's a pretty slow transit. So this North Node is probably going to be the same for a lot of people born in the same year. But what this means is that your North Node, what you can do to really feel like happy with your life is in your 2nd house with that wealth. That's your personal things, you know, and Aquarius there. So that kind of means the way that you can really feel fulfilled with someone with an Aquarius North Node in the 2nd house of finances, your talent, it's the things that you own, right? It's telling you that you're supposed to own your individuality, own your uniqueness, because something about you is different. You know, it might not be apparent as a Capricorn. Sometimes when you have a Capricorn sun, sometimes that Saturn influence can mask your other bits of your personality. But the people that know, you know what? She's serious sometimes, but she has a really funny side to her.
I have it on my phone.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, she has a really hilarious side to her. And that 2nd house, you're supposed to own that funny side. You're not, because Capricorn is, in my opinion, a blessing. Because Saturn, sometimes people look at Saturn and they're like, because Saturn is the planet of discipline, the planet of responsibility, and also it's your karma. So it's like, if you've been good through life, once you hit that Saturn return, which is really when you're like around 30, you'll see the fruits of your labor. If you've been kind of hurting people's feelings, it's going to hurt your feelings, you know. But Saturn represents like that responsibility piece. So people might see you as someone like, oh, as a Capricorn sun, you are very structured, you are very responsible. But dang, when I talk to her for like more than 2 seconds, that girl has an amazing personality. Like, what the heck?
And Sandra sneaks up on you.
And you own, and that's something that you own, because second house isn't just, you know, your second house, I say it represents finances, it represents the things that you personally own, but it also represents that thing that you have inside of you that no one can take away. And you have, as an Aquarius in the second house, that's telling you that you have that uniqueness, you have the individuality, but it's also a vision for the future. You also have that vision for the future of the collective and for your own life that no one can take away from you. And you're supposed to capitalize on that as your North Node or soul mission sits in that second house, telling you like, hey, you're supposed to capitalize on your vision. You're supposed to capitalize on your uniqueness, your individuality. I always tell people also, and the reason I'm focusing on second house is because I feel like that's very valuable in a quick reading like this, as your second house represents what are some things, what are some themes I can do to make some quick cash, right? So Aquarius, that's telling you, even if it is, since Aquarius is kind of like one of those unique signs, like even if it is just talking to people about technology or giving your prediction about where the world's going to go, like Aquarius represents like the future, it represents uniqueness. So anything having to do in that kind of area,
crypto,
like
conversations,
anything like
realty.
Really
Sandra talks about
that.
Realty. Is it realty? Am I saying that right? Crypto, realty, all that.
And I also have to put in, there's another thing I see in your chart. So in astrology, we have, like I said, these houses represent, they're kind of, if the planets are your core personality, the houses are the core experiences of life, right? So the first house is identity, second house finances, like I said, things you own, third house is communication, fourth house is family, you know, so on and so forth. Your 11th house represents your friends. And it also represents kind of like the people born in your same time. So like I was born, like if you say I was born in the 70s, your 11th house represents your fellow 70s people. You know what I mean? And so what this is, you literally have your Venus, which represents like beauty of life. Mars represents your drive. Jupiter, luck and spirituality, stuff like that. And Neptune, which is also kind of like luck and spirituality, but on a more unconscious level. You have 4 planets in your 11th house of friendships, 11th house of the collective. That's telling you that you can really benefit from the people that are around you, and you should really invest in the people around you. You have a natural networking talent, as what I'm seeing from this. Even if you feel, and the thing with the birth chart is, you might look at this and be like, no, I don't like to talk to people, because sometimes, you know, that other influence can, like the Capricorn, I always think like that can sometimes, like I said, mask it. Listen, the thing about your birth chart, it's not telling you like, hey, this is who you're going to be. It's telling you the person you can become to have the most fulfilled life. You should become someone who really invests in your friendships, your friends, whenever you're going through rough times. And to be honest, this kind of shows in other areas, because you're, like we said, moon in Gemini, that's a lighthearted feeling. Your Mercury in Sagittarius, that's like a communication with your friends, because Sagittarius also represents like your friends, your homies, you know? And so when I'm seeing if I could summarize your chart in like 5 seconds, I would say your North Node, really invest in your unique talents, really invest, if it's something specific to you, invest in your creativity. And then your 11th house, having 4 planets sitting there, is telling me you really got to make sure to invest in your friendships. It's just important. It's just a part of your life. Like you just, and the thing is, if you choose not to, you'll be fine, because this is your life and you have free will. But this is telling you it will give you a really great sense of fulfillment. Plus, the last thing I will say, 6th house in Gemini is communication as well. So 6th house represents your daily routines. It represents your health. So it's telling me that you're going to actually feel healthier when you feel like you have friends, when you feel like you have, and if not friends, then even going on the internet, and like there's this forum I go on with, it's like astrology community, and it's people talking about like something, a connection to some other people is really going to benefit you. And if you choose not to, then lean into your own individuality or your uniqueness. And if you feel like you're going to dissolve into friend groups, because sometimes when I read for people that have a lot of 11th house, they're like, I don't want to be like everyone else. I don't want my friends to define who I am. Remember, this Aquarius in the 2nd house, no one can take away your uniqueness. No one can take away your individuality. And that's why you need to be that light for your friends, or be that light for family or people, your immediate environment and the collective. So thank you, Sandra. If you have any specific questions, you can type them in the chat, because I can sometimes look at it and pick out the specific things.
So Jennifer she said she signed up for her reading because she just
hey Jennifer,
I moved forward since my oldest baby is graduating this evening. I'm an emotional wreck.
Jennifer,
do you want her to do you now?
I could just knock it out.
You want to do it private?
Yeah.
If so, just snap, Shannon's joining us.
Shannon.
Jennifer, your name, your birth date.
Shannon been balling lately too. Hi, Shannon. I'm sorry.
I know Shannon performing at the Preakness.
Pimlico. Yeah, she was at Pimlico, hanging out with all her rich, famous friends.
I know Kevin.
Kevin Lau. She don't know us no more, Mark. She don't know us no more, Mark. Boy.
Jennifer, okay, Jennifer, right. Jennifer, we need your birth date and time and place.
And keep it, don't feel, if you don't have your birth time, don't feel bad. I can still do it for you. I can't look into your ascendant and stuff, but I can look into your planets. So don't feel discouraged if you don't have that.
Jennifer will be our last live one, and then Skylar, the people who signed up, she'll do in private.
Yes, so
today,
I'm doing 10 readings today, and
I love it. Sky Dollar Sign.
Sky Dollar Sign.
Stop playing with us.
Sky Dollar Sign. I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
So here's the thing, Bootsy. This person right here, Skylar. Okay.
Oh, you're welcome, Sandra. I got you. And yes, you are funny. I'm telling you, like, your friends really are like counting their lucky stars.
Well, I am. So Sandra be sending me. I get the whole aspect of Sandra, from the genius, which I interviewed her years ago as a top real estate person, to crypto, to Sandra sending me her singing with Whitney Houston.
Yes, because
I'm just so glad Bootsy, Sandra and I have really become really close, and it's so weird. Like so many.
I don't
people,
got her number yet. I don't talk to her, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, I mean, so many people. This whole reinventing Marc Clarke journey.
828.
From Jennifer and I see you, Laverne. People online, Bootsy, even the people on who follow us, who tune in on the show and check in, the people on Instagram Live.
Take your time.
This community, it's crazy because it really is a family. Many people I have not met in person. Like I've never met Paul Porter in person.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? We dealt with parents dying and friends dying and COVID and cried and have never met each other in person.
And the other thing is, to this day, the Paul Porter interview was one of the craziest things I've ever experienced in an interview, the way he decided to end the interview. So
right.
Wow.
You have Jennifer's stuff?
I do.
Jennifer started, and also Jennifer, we've seen people blow up, you know, from Jennifer, who we connected on the treadmill talks, and then she's a amazing speaker. And by the way, cakes. Jennifer, I might have to put in an order for the.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else.
Jennifer, what?
I was saying, that is inappropriate.
Not Jennifer's cakes.
I was like, oh my God, he's terrible.
When I say Jennifer is caked up,
no.
she is.
He means money, Sky Dollar Sign.
When she
talk about the money.
Gluten-free cakes, Skylar. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry. It wouldn't be the first time that is.
But also she is caked up too. But anyway.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Skylar. Hold on. So Skylar, you say he does a lot of bad dad jokes on a regular basis?
Oh yeah. This is this guy's personality.
Skylar, am I a funny dad? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think Dad thinks he's funny.
No, he's funny.
Am I a mean dad or am I?
No, that's funny.
Am I an emotional dad or
oh my God.
Am I a strict dad?
You made me nervous in the beginning of this when you heard talking about Nana and Bob. I was like, oh Lord, bring out the tissues. Because Dad be like, this is Dad's crying. He'd
no,
like,
Sandra got me there yesterday. I sent a video of Dad breaking something down, and Sandra had me crying on the doggone thing.
Yeah, he's serious. Do I have a little
imitate his crying face? Hold on, Skylar. Can you imitate his crying face again, please?
He's like, he said, and then I was like, oh Lord, what is going on here? Like,
oh,
and he also, you know what Dad also does like the shake in your head. I'm like, what's going on? And then he's like, oh, Dad's crying.
I love this show. Oh,
are you crying now?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I was going to say.
Okay.
All right. She cares. At least she cares if you cry. So hey.
I get.
Well, she makes me cry. That's why she cares.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I tell you about the time I had to drag Skylar out of a chair and head out? Yeah. Yeah. Don't Laverne. Don't be fooled by it. Don't be fooled by this, y'all. I come to the chair and she refused to get out of a damn chair. So I had to drag her out of a chair in front of all the white people.
Terrible.
Bootsy on vacation. What was that? Bootsy, you work with young people. What happened, Bootsy? I know you had a student like that, Bootsy, that surprised you. What are they going through when they do that? When they surprise you with some behavior, what are they going through, Bootsy?
They are normally internalizing a whole bunch of feelings and emotion, and most of the time they feel like they were disrespected on something and nobody addressed it, and it just built and built and built. I've actually had it a few times because I crack jokes, and I had that at NPR one time from a student. So
yeah. Bootsy, he tried to Rosa Parks me.
I just said that. Get up.
He said, oh no, it was actually pretty. Looking back, we look back and laugh, but yes, those were the teen years, and you know how those are.
All right.
Yeah. Your father-in-law. Well, listen, your father-in-law video had me cry. Aw, yes. That's so
okay.
Sweet.
Now, C-sided. Okay, can't say his name now. Okay, now.
All right. Now to get into Miss Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay, so Jennifer, first of all, I see.
Bootsy, where you going? Oh Lord.
Oh Lord.
Bootsy, what are you doing?
No, I'm just getting a picture because this is crazy that I had this picture behind me. So This is so crazy.
He's here. So, he's right. Well, we know he's here right now. He's right. He's proud of us, right?
Yeah. Because all this, spirituality, astrology thing is really ironic.
And shout out to, you're a teacher. The teachers, because what you said about Memphis, Bootsy, I have no doubt. That instructor, that school had those instructors that Dick Gregory talked about. Those Black instructors that created geniuses. And I know, like you said, that Maurice, there's a professor, Skylar's grandfather, Lafayette, got a full ride to college. He had no idea about, but there was a professor that he always talked about, and I'm sure that Maurice was taught by this same professor. I'm sure that
I know you're talking about
Mayor for Life was taught by the same professor. Allison's grandparents, Lafayette was raised in the Lemoyne projects. They all raised in the projects. Again, he went on to not only go to Howard and Arkansas Pine Bluff and Harvard and be a director of Peace Corps. His brother went on to be a doctor. His other brother went on to be an engineer. These are all people raised in the projects of Memphis. And again, just like the brilliance of Mayor for Life. So we definitely stand on the shoulders of those people.
Absolutely. But just see this passed down and see how intelligent and articulately she can convey it. It's really interesting. You don't see people her age doing this. This is really fascinating. Now I'm gonna have to start ramping them texts up to you and Allison, calling y'all bad parents again. I don't know how it's going to end.
Your new niece, Laverne's a new niece, along with Sandra and Sheridan. Okay, Sheridan.
All right. So we're getting into Miss Jennifer's chart. Okay, so the first thing I see, Virgos, y'all got it together. Like, my sister's a Virgo, and like, people probably look to you like, oh my God, like, even if, let's say your life is falling apart, people will look at you and be like, wow, that person is really organized. Because something about Virgos, that's communication. I think people always give the Geminis the communication award. And listen, they deserve it. But you know why? It's because both, like we were talking with Mercury retrograde, both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. And that's communication, that's thought. And also that's kind of like, your intelligence, like showing your intelligence daily. And that's why Virgos get that rep of, oh, they're really like put together, because you seem intelligent. That's your sun. That's your base personality. Someone who has it together and who has their own systems in life. That's kind of like, it's telling you that, okay, this person has the way of tackling things that fits them. So that's what I see. First off, of course, the sun in Virgo. That's pretty awesome. And then I see like your North Node in Pisces. So I found this very interesting because when I see a North Node in Pisces placement, I think this person really needs to trust in the abundance of something that we can't see, which is like, we call it God, call it source. If you're non-religious, just call it the order of life. When I see a North Node in Pisces, I'm like, okay, this person should really be in touch with some kind of thought that makes them understand, like a method of thought, whether it's the, new age thought, whether it's what I just did, like with human design. You're supposed to really embrace, I would say spirituality, but I don't want to make it just seem like that's the only thing. It's really just embrace that there's some things going on that we can't see that's helping you in your journey. And a North Node, I always look, because, I find it one of the most, in my readings, I always talk about the North Node because in my opinion, it's like one of the most important things, because your North Node doesn't always come easy to you. Like with our last chart, for example, like when you have that Aquarius North Node, it might not always come easy to you to show your unique side. You kind of work towards that, and that gives you fulfillment. And so just like in astrology, it's like a blueprint. It's telling you what to do, right? So I see your moon and North Node in your 7th house, which is Pisces, of course. 7th house is you're supposed to connect with people one-on-one, maybe about what you think happens when we transition, when we think happens, like who do we think is in the sky? You know, what do we think is going on? A 7th house represents your partnerships. It also represents romantic relationships. So it also represents kind of like, if not romantic, then a platonic bond between you and one other or like 2 other people. And it's talking about how you're supposed to kind of share your ideas about your whether it be your spirituality, your religion, something that's going to be a big thing for you in life. And it's kind of vague, but I'm trying to make it seem as what's the word when it's kind of open to all thoughts or like all religions, as universal as possible.
Atheist?
Yeah, like kind of like I'm trying to make
Bootsy, that's not it.
Well, anything. It's kind of just, I know it's a little like you might be like, what is she talking about?
Non-denominational.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it as universal as possible because I don't want to assume that you're spiritual. I don't want to assume that you're religious, but it's just telling you you're supposed to have like a kind of like a deep bond with someone else. That's what Pisces. It means kind of like the unconscious. It's like that goes beyond the like world. You're supposed to have, like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that means talk to your friends about spirituality. It's just telling me that's a big part of your life. So
it's okay. She's churchy. She got God with her.
Yeah, exactly.
She's churchy. She got a God-fearing family.
And then some other things.
She's concerned about her son's graduation. Don't forget about that.
Oh my goodness! Okay. I thought we were doing general. Okay, you're concerned about your graduate. Well, that's probably because your North Node is in your personal relationships. Your 7th house, like we said, it's not always love. It's also like your children. It's also like your siblings. And I think that's a part of your soul. So how can we move forward? Okay, well, when people ask how to move forward, I always look at your 5th house because that represents your own creativity and it represents joy. So Capricorn there, that's a Saturn influence. And so I see you kind of moving forward in a way that's, when I think Saturn, I'm trying to make it, Saturn always seems like it's like cold. And like I said, people are always scared. But whenever I see this in your 5th house, it's telling you to embrace really researching, to embrace like learn about other parts of life you weren't really always learning about. Sometimes when, with kids, it's like, I don't know what it's like yet, but like when you have a child, sometimes you put all of your life into them. And it's kind of this part of life, this phase of life with the Saturn 5th house is telling you, maybe look to like, find another thing that you can feel responsible for, find another thing that you can feel like is your baby, so that could be like researching, that could be like finding an area of life that you didn't really care to discover. This is kind of
passion project.
Like that's actually perfect. That's exactly what I mean. Like, or something you can be responsible, something that you can feel ownership for, because the 5th house represents what will give you life, will make you feel happy. And sometimes when I see a 5th house in Saturn, people might be like, isn't that kind of different because Saturn's responsibility? No, find something to feel responsible for, and that could be a passion project. That could be a podcast. That could be something that you have to put time and effort into.
That speaking career that we talked about, Jennifer,
right?
That book that we want to finish,
something that you have. Like something that you've been wanting to do and you haven't been able to give your undivided attention to, because sometimes like it can get clouded, I can assume, as a parent. Some other things I see here is also your 10th house. So like if it's really communication that you're looking into, Gemini in the 10th house shows that you have good speaking ability.
Yep.
And that doesn't always have to be like on a stage, because sometimes with the Saturn in 5th house, you might not like to be on the stage. You might not like to be the center of attention per se, but if you wanted to, you could, because you have the 10th house, how people will view you. They already view you as a great communicator. They already view you as somebody who can tap into that intellectual side and give some great advice, Let's see some other things.
She said this. She says yes. Gift of gab. God sends me signs all the time. My family says I shock. You can choose to have a live testimony, and she's okay with the general too.
Okay, good. We're doing so. If I could mix it up a little bit, I definitely see that for you. If you really do value that kind of side of life that gives you this hope. Yeah, that's important. And you like, because I always feel like the sad thing is that sometimes it can feel like you're like, when I see like, because I've actually done a couple of readings for parents as well, and I've seen that question come up a lot, where what do I do? Like, I feel like I don't have an identity. Your first house is who you are. That comes off as, that's a Virgo. So like you're a Virgo sun and a Virgo ascendant. So you're somebody who is going to have their stuff together. So never feel like anything's being taken away from you, because with a Virgo rising, you are that earth. Like that's an earth element. You are supposed to be grounded. You're not supposed to feel stressed out about this. You're supposed to move on to the next, because you give, I can already tell, like a great parent, as that Virgo influence makes you very caring for someone's emotions, but you're also you give that person structure and you give them help. So they're always going to help. They're always going to ask for your help. But this time what I see is like that 5th house in Capricorn is telling me really hone in on like what you like to do. Now I'm going to look at some of your aspects, because I kind of haven't been doing that a lot. And I think that's also important. I see a lot of midheaven aspects. So that's the Gemini again. Midheaven is your 10th house. And we said the 10th house is in Gemini, right? So I see like ascendant, for example, ascendant square midheaven. So you might feel kind of shy to step into that role of like the great communicator or the person who gives advice. Give advice, maybe teach other people, maybe young parents, like, hey, this is how I raise my kid, you know?
Also baking. She makes amazing gluten-free cakes.
You also got Jupiter trine midheaven. So baking, Jupiter is also expanding. And when we think of a cake, it like expands in the oven and stuff. So that's like your talent. You know, you're supposed to be that person to, if I could give you a couple keywords, like be a guide for other people because of your outward projected stability. Even if you feel unstable on the inside, you have this calming thing about you that people look to for help. And I also see using your Mercury influence to really communicate, to maybe offer guidance to people, to still care about to still feel responsible, still feel like you have something that you have to build up. You know, just because that part of your life might be kind of over, where the transition to graduation and stuff, you still have that thing about you that you can really give your attention to a project, give your attention to an outlet, and really see it build up. Like that's kind of your thing. And then let me see. How are we on time? Should I do a couple more?
Okay, just a little bit more.
Okay, a little bit more.
Okay, right. Skylar, let me ask you one question just so I can get this.
Yeah.
So what is the definition of midheaven again?
Midheaven. Okay, so midheaven is like, people call it the house of career because it is kind of like how people view you. But it's your reputation. It's really how people view you on a more professional or more like you know what I mean? Like,
so like Bootsy would be, he's a teacher. Midheaven. He's a teacher by profession.
Well, yeah, teacher.
He's a wild boy. Like in just he wild, but like a profession to be like, oh yeah, Bootsy Vegas.
I got it.
The Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Aficionado. No, because the main thing is I just be wanting to understand everything that she's saying, because it's such great information. I just be wanting to have a little bit more insight on the titles and what she's conveying. So I get it. Please figure into, because I feel like every time you're in, I'm learning. So continue on, please. I don't want to stop. I just think people need to know what the importance of those what the definitions of what you're speaking of.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes that's the only funny thing. Like sometimes when I do the reading, I'm like, okay, this is this. And it's like, oh, you know, people like you have to learn.
We don't know. Yeah. Right. We don't know what it is.
Like you said, so when you said midheaven as compared to, you say what's
ascendant?
Ascendant. Yeah.
Oh, is midheaven another name for?
Oh, to the 10th house?
No, you said when I'm a Gemini, I say I'm a Gemini. What is that? The Gemini piece.
Oh, okay. Your Gemini, your sun is like your
sun.
Yeah.
Okay. So is sun and midheaven the same?
No, your sun and midheaven aren't the same, and it actually is kind of
you like that question, Bootsy?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is that a Bootsy-like question?
Very much so. No, because and let me tell you why it's important. Because she knows it so good. She's kind of like rambling it off. And I think people just need to understand the context of what she's explaining when it conveys to the person. So I love it. I just want to know what it is because, you know, she's explaining the midheaven term. I just want to know what the definition of the midheaven term is.
And you know
compare the sun to the midheaven, Skylar.
Well, let me go through. I'm going to run through a couple of definitions. So the midheaven, or also known as the MC, also known as the 10th house, represents your public image, right? Your public face. And it also represents, beyond that, it also represents like how your power, kind of like, how do people, what is
your superpower?
Yeah, like
your gift.
So you got the Scorpio midheaven, so like or Scorpio 10th house. So that kind of means like you have this power of understanding spirituality, or power of understanding that there's a greater force involved. So yeah, I'm sorry for the sorry y'all, because midheaven represents
you're good.
Your public image, but also your power. And it also can represent how people are intimidated by you, like what intimidates other people about you. That's your midheaven. Your ascendant is like your first house, and that represents your if your midheaven is your public image, your first house is like first impression. And your first house is like, oh, that guy, you know, got some good hair. That's usually a Leo rising because Leo rules the hair, right? Is your first house is a more physical explanation of who you are or your ascendant. And then, of course, your sun, like, you know, core personality. Your moon is your emotions. Mercury is communication.
This
so,
is
yeah.
great. No, it's great.
So, I'm trying to think what else is, because some of them have little funny names that I'm trying to like make sure I know. Well, I'm not even going to watch the review of my show right now. You know how.
No, this is great too, because I do think the fact that you are connecting this to your normal everyday regimen. Like sometimes astrology and spirituality is not always connected to your normal everyday thing, which a lot of these signs that you're saying, everybody already recognized it. Nobody just never really pointed it out to them in different terms. So this is why I think it's important that you're really laying it out so people can fully understand, because the real gift of what you're doing is a lot of people are recognizing that already. You're just conveying it in a different spiritual way. So I think this is great for us to get the contents of it.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I always want to make sure, because I hate to like, you know, just say it and they're like, okay, what does that even mean? So I'm actually really glad, because sometimes I do that. Like, I'm like, okay, this and this and this. So
because we don't know it. And please keep this in mind. Nobody has probably ever broke this down to none of these viewers. I've never heard it. So the fact that you know it and you're breaking it down, it's just a lot sometimes to digest. So that's why I want you to emphasize that.
So I know that Lino wants to get read, and also Laverne. And Lino put some cash in that wallet. So and then Laverne. So we'll do Lino and then Laverne. Okay. So Lino is from Peru.
Oh, okay.
We need the info, Sandra. Lino is Sandra's husband.
Okay.
Lino Delgado.
Lino.
Senor Delgado was a cat. Remember that song?
This is
Lino, born in Peru. What year and what time?
Yeah, what year and
time? Just as a never question, as you get the information, Skylar. Let me ask you a question. How often does these things change by seasons? Because I know sometimes with the moon and the sun, and sometimes evolving. How often does it change when it comes to summer? Because I know people are more relaxed in the summer versus the winter, whatever. Just from a layman's context or whatever, does a lot of these things change by seasons, or it's just your normal day-to-day interaction?
Well, you mean like planets like in retrograde and things like that?
Right.
Oh, okay. So I got you. So how does it change? So there's the reason why you might be like, why is Mercury always in retrograde? That's the fastest moving planet. So that's always going to be changing. And so Mercury retrograde, in everyone's life, you're going to experience at least one. And then there's some other planets. So like, let me think, sun. The sun is kind of more slow moving. So it's kind of less, you're less likely to have like kind of a sun thing going on. Let me see what other planets. I believe Pluto or Saturn are the two slowest ones in my opinion. So Pluto, the reason why everyone's born in the same generation usually has the same Pluto sign is because it's like, it takes a long time. You know what I mean?
So Lino, Peru, 12/18, 7 a.m.
And so yeah, like that's the reason why, because I always thought that too. Like, why is Mercury retrograde? Why is that always happening? It's because Mercury is changing every single day. And of course, you know, the planets go through different transits. So like sometimes Mercury will be in like Pisces or it will be in like Aquarius. You know what I'm saying? So
no, that's a great assessment, because life moves like that. You know what I mean? Life in general is moving like that. You know, situations and circumstances are moving. So I do think that is a great connection the way you're breaking it down, because life is Mercury when you really think about it, the way you describe it.
And you know what? And that's a great question, because, you know, I also feel when I was first getting into astrology, I would be like, why does it feel like every winter, like it feels like there's always the same problem? You know, why does it always feel like in the summer, there's some kind of problem I always come across? It's when you go on you can even look up like my transits astrology. It will show you what the signs are what the planets are doing. So like, one example comes to mind, like
we have no idea what this girl be doing in her room, Bootsy. I didn't realize that. We have no idea. Well, I don't know who this person is.
So, for example, like I believe one transit that happened yesterday. It was the moon was transiting the sign Gemini, and so yesterday was a great day to manifest or a great day to assess.
Well, it was my birthday. Well, it was my birthday yesterday, so you know.
Yeah, you know, you got
enough with Bootsy. He'll get you.
No. Yeah, I'm not distracted. She's giving us answers though, Mark. I do
That
think it's great that she's breaking it down in layman terms for the person who's never heard this before. So
is
yeah,
true.
because I needed that when I was first getting in. I definitely did need. I didn't really get it. I was like, okay, what? So yeah, but yeah, that was pretty much the planets. Mercury, keep in mind, always the fastest. Always the slowest is Saturn and Pluto. So that's why everyone in your thing has the same thing.
I got you. This story you've heard before. Bootsy.
You know where in Peru?
Once again, huh?
You know where in Peru?
Oh, where in Peru? Where in Peru? Sandra, Lino's excited, but you got Lino excited. And he don't be getting excited. So Bootsy, I told you the classic family story where Skylar's grandfather, who was, every year we bought those books for him, those Zodiac horoscope books, right? Mm-hmm. And I told you that he left it for Skylar, Lima Peru. Mm-hmm. He not only left it for Skylar with her name on it, he had circled his death date. Quit playing, Bootsy.
Creepy.
Is that crazy?
Creepy.
He circled his death date. And he left it for his baby. And now look what we have.
It is. I just remembered that was so scary. Oh, not scary, but that was so like.
He handed it off to the little baby girl here. And
I'm going to refrain from my comments because I've been telling you what I think about her since birth. So, I guess we can't force somebody to do anything. But, just in general, though, Skylar, it is masterful the way that somebody of your age can convey these conversations to adults. This is not a normal communication skill in which you have. Like, I don't want to be the uncle that's pressing the issue, you know what I mean? But, really, because I try to stay out of it, I'm sure my relationship with your mom and your dad, but, just make sure that this gift that you got to make people feel good, to build people up, but also convey information. I hope it don't fall on deaf ears that there is something you could be doing with that as well. I don't know what it is you want to do, and I don't want to force nobody into doing what I'm doing. But let me say this. You have a gift. You have a different level of gift of communication, and no normal child your age should be doing. This does not happen to adults.
She's 47.
I'm 96.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop.
Okay, come on. Let's do Lima.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Lino.
All right, Lino from Lima. Okay. So some things I already see down the bat.
Oh, not down the bat.
Is that right? Is that right saying?
Nope,
what is it? Is it down
off the bat?
Off the bat. Okay, so
actually, is that a black phrase, Bootsy? Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so something. Whoa, you got a lot of. Okay, so in our birth chart, there's like these patterns, right? And so different patterns, I'm gonna break them down too.
Okay.
So stellium. What do I mean when I say stellium? That's usually 3 or more planets in some kind of sign or a house. Okay. So that means it's a big part of your life. So when you have a Virgo stellium, and so that Virgo is serious because that's communication in a more structured way, And so I see your Uranus, yes, I'm not gonna say it like that.
Uranus. My favorite planet.
Which is the unexpected, which is your unique ideas, is in Virgo. Your Pluto, which represents your life-changing experiences, your rebirth, like transformation, is in Virgo. Your moon, which is your emotions, Virgo, and your midheaven, which we were talking about, your public image or like your power, is in Virgo.
Wow.
So you are a Virgo to the core. And so that is telling you that when you have a combination of planets in the same sign, and Virgo in this case, you are really that's Earth. So Virgo is the Earth element. So there's Virgo, Capricorn. There's another one I'm trying to remember. Virgo, Capricorn. Come on, what's the last one? Come on, Taurus. And these are Earth. So this is the grounding energy. So you should really find a way to ground yourself and know that is your power. Your power comes from the fact that to other people, you really do seem like cool, calm, collected. And so really, I'm always telling people not to be an opportunist, but really take advantage of these traits that you have. So you were just born to be this person who has a talent of organizing your life in a way that people admire. And so even if you don't feel that way, that is in you, So that's just one thing that I noticed.
So yeah, Skylar, when somebody's really grounded,
yeah.
Does that necessarily mean you work with the earth? Not necessarily.
It doesn't mean it's just like a natural thing. It's like you're naturally supposed to. You're not supposed to have a lot of chaos, And if you do, that's a sign that something Something needs to change because you're naturally with a Virgo, especially with Virgo, because Virgo in the earth signs, it always stands out to me because Capricorn is like serious responsibility. Taurus is like home. It represents your earth, literally your earth home. But Virgo is like they forget that it's a communicator. They forget that it's somebody who's supposed to radiate organization or radiate a like a kind of, what's the word for it? Like a responsible vibe, you know, like that's kind of your thing. So even if it feels
that's like a dependable,
really, yeah, dependency. You're supposed to
lean on. That's somebody you can lean on. So if you're not that person, then you might be.
If you're not, then it doesn't mean that something's wrong. It just means that you need to tap into that. So like it's this, the signs is telling you like, yo, you got this. You have this grounding thing about you. You make other people feel very grounded. So if you don't feel that way, then see what's going on, because that's who you are at the core. And you have 4 planets. So you have even Uranus, which represents like kind of the quirky, like the unforeseeable. You even have that sign, I would say the most chaotic planet in the most stable sign. So that's telling you, yo, you shouldn't be feeling too stressed or feeling too chaotic. You're supposed to feel grounded.
Wow.
Some other things, you have a castle. Okay, so what is a castle? Like I said, there's these patterns, right? The planets, the way that they interact with each other create like this geometric pattern. You have a castle, which is like a combination of things. And you have in your castle, I was trying to make this as broad as possible. You have Neptune, North Node, your soul mission, right? Venus, which is beauty, Pluto, life-changing experiences, and Uranus, which is like the unpredictable. You have these in a lot of water and earth signs. So this is telling you that the earth, which is the main component of your personality, which is that grounded, reliable, and organized personality, is interacting with the water. So that, which is, you know, water, whenever I think Pisces, when I think Scorpio, that's kind of like the more free-flowing, the more unique kind of thought. And so this is telling you that while you have this grounded thing about you, while you have this very, like, people might even look at you and be like, oh my God, like I highly doubt that they believe in like the hoopla and they believe in like, you know, kind of metaphysical stuff. You might actually have a talent for balancing that. So you should look into, if not spirituality, then religion or something that gives you interest, because yes, you are this Virgo person, but you also have a little bit of that water poking through. And that's telling you this person can definitely still utilize abstract thought. Like you can still think of things that are, you know, kind of out of the ordinary. You don't have to be too rigid in life.
So on the surface, people may think that you're kind of like you said,
serious,
traditional,
kind of,
serious.
They might think,
but they don't know you have another side.
Yeah, you kind of have another side interacting, which is that water. So, and it doesn't always, when I say serious, keep in mind, it does not mean boring. It does not mean like scary. It really just means put together. That's kind of your vibe. But you also can dabble in a little bit of like the abstract if you want to, of course. And this chart pattern is telling me in this life, maybe that would be something that gives you a bit of abundance, like to see like things, you have such like a put together life. Maybe I should do something like go skateboarding or something, like just something that gives your life like a bit of less rigidity. Is that the word? All right, rigidity. But that was only your aspects. Now let's look into your chart. So I see that you have that Aquarius second house. You're a Capricorn rising, okay? So a Capricorn rising, that's another earth sign. So that might come off as also very like responsible and very this guy, you know, but you have your Venus in the first house. So whenever I see Venus, which represents like the lighthearted side of life, like the beauty of life in your first house, you really do make people feel comfortable. Probably like a first house is, remember, it's really your physical appearance. So, you know, but it's also more so your like the first vibe or the first impression. People might really appreciate that you seem so put together, because they might be like, oh my God, that person is so like nice to be around, because they're so like calming, they're so grounded. So I would just utilize that. And then second house in Aquarius. So the second house is, remember, your finances and the things that you own. So that's that abstract thought again. And that's, guess what? That's at 0 degrees. And so when a planet is when a sign's at 0 degrees, imagine the degrees as something that influences the nature of that sign. Okay. So when you have it at 0 degrees, that means straight up Aquarius, like no other influence. So your second house is telling you a good way to actually maybe get abundance is to tap into that side that's unique, tap into that side that you're kind of like other side. You know, if the left brain is your personality, you know, the very analytical, very intelligent, rigid person, the right brain is the thing that might give you a little bit of money too, because it's like, hey, I might be this guy, but I also have this side of me that you might have never guessed, you know? And then your North Node in 7th house. Okay, so Leo's married to whom?
Sandra,
you're his destiny because your
oh.
seventh house represents your business, you know, like, but it also represents someone that you live with. It's like your close quarters. And when you have and it says Cancer, so Cancer's emotions. So Sandra, you know, I don't know if, how y'all's relationship with the dynamic is, but I can already tell that he probably appreciates you because seventh house is water, is Cancer. So Cancer is a water sign. So you probably allow him to be emotional, allow him to be kind of like in touch with the less serious side of life. And North, no, your soul mission is to be in some kind of partnership. So I don't know, Sandra.
Oh, wait a minute.
You're his destiny or something.
You are my destiny. Leno singing. You are my destiny.
And then, of course, you have some other ninth house represents. Okay, so what I'm seeing, I'm going to put your thing in keywords. So what I'm seeing is you value and other people value your put togetherness. They value your responsibility. They value that. But you also, a big way to expand your soul and expand your life experience is with a ninth house in Leo, and Leo is the sign of attention. You know, you're also supposed to show people that you have this side to you that's very, you know, very intelligent, very like attention demanding, you know, like that's another big part of your life for people to look at you and be like, oh, you know what, that person, not only are they put together, but they also kind of like command attention. And the ninth house also represents like your spiritual growth or your religious growth or a growth on the more like abstract or like trying to think kind of just your mind's growth, you know. And it's telling you that you have your moon there, so that's emotions, and you also have Pluto, so it will actually be life-changing for you to tap into your spiritual side or tap into your religious or educate yourself on maybe just, it could even be on math or something, just something that connects you with a higher understanding of something. So I know that was a little kind of all over the place, but that's kind of what I'm seeing here.
Okay, all right. Well, yes. Good. I'm good gracious. I'm glad they're destined together.
Yeah, that's how
and so
your soul mission is to be in some kind of partnership.
And so last but not least, Lino is in the building. Laverne is going to wrap it up. Look at you. This is our longest show. Bootsy, are you okay?
Oh, no.
Man, I'm great. I'm learning. I'm taking it all in. This is great for me. So
shout out to Instagram Live. Brother Wayne was over there. Wayne Bruce.
Oh, snap.
He loves you.
Hey, Wayne.
Okay.
Oh, Kevin wants me to tell him about the Libra Virgo cusp. Okay, so all right, Kevin, I'm about to disappoint you. I don't know if I'm a huge cusp person because the cusp represents people. It's two different signs, right? But so I'm kind of technically, so it means when someone signs, when you're born, every sign has like a birthday range, if you will. So like, you know, I believe that Aquarius ends on like February 20th or something. It's like the range in which you can be the sun sign. The cusp is something different because when you're a cusp, you're like born right between that transition from like Aquarius to like Pisces, or that, you know, two different signs interacting. That's kind of what I am technically. Technically, I'm an Aquarius and Pisces. Well, I'm really like a Pisces, but technically I'm a mix of those two signs. My thing with the Libra Virgo cusp is if you believe in cusp, like if you believe that there's two energies within you. No, you're not weird. No, Kevin. No, you're not.
No,
weird.
Kevin.
No, you're not weird. It's just saying that if you feel, I would say that, you know, Libra represents like is very pleasant. Libra is ruled by Venus, so Libra is very pleasant. Libra is very in touch with kind of like anything Venus. So anything beautiful, anything like decoration, anything.
Okay, so he's stylish.
Yeah,
that's one aspect of Kevin. Okay.
And Virgo is like put together. So you know, so you kind of just.
That's you, Kevin.
I actually don't. I would never tell anyone, hey, this isn't real. If you believe in cusp, if you feel that influence of like two different signs, and whether that's your sun, your moon, whatever, lean into the one that you feel more represents you. So if you feel like you're more like Libra influence, where you're more about balance, you're more about harmony, you know.
No, Kevin will cusp your ass out. That's
Right.
where he gets his cusp from.
Therefore, if you feel like you're more like if you're more Virgo and you're like, you know,
that was great, Mark. That was great. I see what you did there.
That was pretty good.
That
was pretty good. It's just whatever you decide to lean into. But Libra just represents balance. Virgo represents like put together, organized. It represents communication. So whatever you feel like is you, then.
Oh, wait a minute. Deidre said, "What about Leo?"
What about Leo sun? Like you mean like Leo, just Leo influence?
I think Deidre just hopped in. Just wants to know what about a Leo.
Leos are just the attention. Like you guys will just attention commander. Is that the word for it? Like people when you walk into a room.
Who is that? Who's that? Who made this breakfast? It must be Deidre.
Leos have to find some kind of outlet that allows them to be seen. You know, like Leo is
Troy Johnson.
The lion.
Leo.
Yep. you got to find some kind of outlet that allows you to be seen. And if not, if you don't like to be on stage, then at least recognize for your efforts. You know, you need to feel like you need that. And it doesn't mean that, you know, I hate when people are like, oh, Leo's like, you need external validation. There's nothing wrong with needing someone to be like, yo, like, you did a great job on this thing. Like, you're the center of the sun. You guys are the lion. Like, this is your thing. You just command attention naturally, and you have to be recognized for your efforts. Like, that's a big part of your soul's growth. So that's what I think of.
All right, Skylar. Barbara just hopped on. Pisces.
Did I mention
You're Pisces?
I'm
right?
a Pisces. Yeah. Pisces, I mean, when people might judge, I mean, it's funny because with that, like, Dad will be like, Skylar, what are you doing, you know? And
what are you doing, Skylar?
I think Pisces always get the rep of like, Pisces are so distracted. Pisces, it's because
focus, Skylar.
And the reason why I speak what Boosie said was awesome. Like, the reason why I think I speak about astrology as so casually is because it's part of my life. You know, like, I don't like how, you know, our grandparents were always like, oh, I have to check the numerology. It's just a natural part of us Pisces signs. We just have that innate connection to this the understanding that there's something beyond this like kind of matrix, you know, or beyond this world that we live in. And so Pisces, whenever I see a fellow Pisces, I'm like, okay, I know we'd be daydreaming about life, because life really does it feels like kind of like a split between the real world and between our own world that we have in our mind that we kind of live in. So
are Pisces known to be emotional?
Pisces, I think the most emotional is Cancer. People love to be like, Pisces cry. Pisces
That's
are
a fact. That is a fact about Cancers.
Cry. Cancers are the most emotional. Cancers will cry. Like, when you have a Cancer placement, I know you're always crying. Like, I don't know this guy's rising sign, but I know Cancer somewhere because Dad is always crying. And so Cancer is emotional. Pisces is emotional still, but it's more like caught into your own world. Like, I know for me, whenever I see the movies, I love going to the movies because I love to be in like different worlds. I don't know if y'all have heard the Oculus, but that's like a virtual reality. I love that stuff. Like, I love to kind of, and you might be like, okay, you need a distraction. Nah, it's just a part of Pisces life. You just have to have something that's like a creative outlet for you. Like, that's your whole thing.
Okay, Skylar, enough work. Back to work.
All right, what am I doing again?
Oh, Veronica.
Oh, whoops.
Boy,
Right
Joe Jack, the media Joe Jackson on here. He just
that is hilarious.
Laverne is next.
God.
Yes.
Joe Jackson. Oh my God.
You seeing the mean side of me, Bootsy, right? You ain't never seen this before, have you?
Yes, I am. I mean, come on now.
Help me. Okay, where are we?
Look at Sandra pushing you. Girl, she can do it for $20.
Come on.
Okay, so Skylar, a lot of people have done it live, but
reduce the price a little bit.
Nope. We're going on vacation. You need some nice for your swimsuit.
You know me, Bootsy. I don't really want people to have to be paying them. He was like, "You're gonna do $20." I'm like, Lord,
yeah.
And you get 3%, Skylar.
I know Dad's gonna take my money.
But you got a manager dad now who is insistent. You know what I mean? He's trying to strike while the iron's hot around here. You know what I mean? You can't just be
not $20. That's too. He said, "No, you're gonna say $20."
You just can't be his amazing young daughter who's just great, intelligent, and articulate. Now he sees a dollar sign on the end of you.
Terrible.
Right? The book's gonna come out. He would wake me up, and then she said,
"A scholar just telling the Wi-Fi is up. Let's go." No, I'm sorry.
Well, did she have there 1950?
Yeah, she had 1950.
Okay, you had it in there. Okay, Laverne.
Don't worry, Laverne. I got you. So let's get into it. So Laverne and Shirley, your son is in Aquarius. I'm sorry, but Aquarius. I'm sorry, I'm a little biased. That's my favorite sign. Because Aquarius is that
your mother's favorite sign was Aquarius.
Aquarius just has that. Y'all just special. Y'all. You know how the kids say built different. You're just built different. Like,
Laverne is built different.
But I love to see
Laverne.
Wow.
I'm playing Laverne. I know Laverne.
Someone get this guy out of here. Your son. So a son in Aquarius. I think did I read for you already? But anyway, sun in Aquarius, moon in Cancer. Oh my gosh, that's the perfect balance because they love to be like, oh, Aquarius are so, they don't have any emotions. No, that's not true. Aquariuses have emotions. They just process it differently because they're very mental and they're very abstract. And that's what I love. The reason why they're my favorite sun sign is because you guys, and I say sun sign specifically because your sun is like your core and you guys are like unpredictable, but in the best way possible because, and you have it at 5 degrees. So that's some money. That's like famous. So 5 degrees represents like doing, you could, I don't know if you have a TikTok or something, but you should like do it some kind of.
Laverne ain't got no damn TikTok.
I don't know. I'm saying Laverne, like,
I'm joking, Laverne.
You could really, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, you could actually, the degree 5, by the way, guys, is like I said, every planet is influenced by degree. 5 represents like something that like I see it in a lot of like not in a negative way, but one hit wonders where there's something that just like amazing happens and it's like, what just happened? So your son, I don't know if you do have an Instagram. Okay, I don't know if you need to do some kind of viral like life hack or something, but something will blow up if you wanted to. An Aquarius sun, that is telling you that you are supposed to really revel in your creativity, but also your uniqueness. Like, I love to see Aquarius because y'all just don't care. Like, if someone tells you you're weird, if someone tells you, oh, I've never thought of it that way, you're supposed to give different ways of doing things. You know, your whole life, I would say, from a sun, and the only reason I'm generalizing it off of this sun sign is because something about Aquarius is you guys are not meant to be normal. You're not meant to work like a regular gig. You're supposed to bring something new to the table. So really utilize that. Plus you have your moon in Cancer. So that just is like a perfect sign to have your moon in because it's your emotions. So you are just, the key is to be really just like really utilize the fact that, yes, I'm this person who might seem cool, calm, collected on the outside, but I also know how to feel. I know what it means to go through things. I know I have that emotional response that is healthy, because Cancer people will be like, well, I don't want a Cancer because I don't want to be crying. I don't want. Well, it's okay. Really use that emotion to your advantage. Like, you guys have a connection to that empathy. You have intuition, a strong intuition. Use that to your advantage. I also see moon in Cancer in a lot of intuitive people because y'all know how other people are feeling. So not only are you this unique person, but you also know how other people
Laverne, as a Aquarius, could be a weirdo, but she's emotional, so she understands when people be like, why did you not call me back?
Creativity is the key. Yeah, you can be in touch with this like abstract, but people don't let anyone tell you, oh, you don't know what life is like. You think weird. No, you're special. And maybe I'm biased because I have Aquarius in my chart as well, but whatever.
Okay,
all right.
You too.
So let's look into some other things. So Venus, oh my God, you're just probably the most compassionate person ever. My gosh, like Venus in Pisces. When you have a moon in Cancer, moon in a water sign, your emotions are water. Your Venus is in a water sign. The way you love people is water. The way that you feel the love of the world is water. That's telling you that people probably really appreciate how compassionate you are, even if you don't know it. Even if your sun is kind of like your personality. So if you're like, no, I'm not that. I'm like really like, I'm not really attached. You might not be super attached seemingly, but you can know how other people feel. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying?
A little insight on Laverne. People may not know that little side.
They might not know. They might not. Oh, I can't speak English. They might not know that you are in touch with people like you, that they know you can know how people are feeling, but that's something you
might be a little bit misunderstood. Some may think that Laverne is aloof, but not understand that she's really feeling.
What does aloof mean?
Aloof.
Oh, well, that's the word they always use for Aquarius, aloof. And I'm like, oh my God, no, like you guys are just different.
Quick question.
See,
do y'all know
that we're great, but we're not appreciated as we should be?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because they can be aloof.
Well, Leos are more like, people get mad that they have.
Oh, that's right. I'm Aquarius. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, some more questions. Do you guys know who Laverne Washington is? Y'all know who that lady is?
The Laverne Washington, of course.
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure y'all know who that lady is.
You go ahead and paint the picture, though, because you do this great.
No, well, she is a singer who had some successful hit records in the 80s. Yes. One of the songs was called The Promise, and the other one was called I Found What I've Been Searching For. So she is not, she has had some major success. She has an amazing
wonder thing. It's not a one-hit wonder.
Not one hit.
It just caught fire. Yes, songs are surge.
Yes, yes. So she has she's a very accomplished, successful singer that is a very creative person already in general, and you're conveying to her to get back on her creative side. So
yes,
so.
Because I can see that like you got that 5, like that's 5 is a Leo degree, which is why I say it's like fame, because your sun, like that's who you are. People know you. And also the moon having those water placements like we were talking about, like your moon, your emotions, Venus, that also means you can convey emotion. So when you sing or when you like speak, you can convey that emotion. It's not always like how you feel. It could even, I wouldn't be surprised if, you were like, I don't feel that way, but the way that you speak, something about the way that you communicate, the way that you sing, and, Venus is singing as well. So it's like something about you is like, it makes people feel things. So
come on, Laverne, bring it to him now.
Cry. Let's see. So, did well in Europe. Okay. I can tell you why you did well. Your North Node is in Sagittarius. Your soul mission is to expand your horizons.
Come on.
And travel and find success in other people.
Talk, Sky Dollar Sign.
I don't know if you travel a lot. that, but your North Node is to find those. It's really your North Node, your soul mission in Sagittarius. Not only you don't only have to physically take a plane somewhere. But you in your mind, you should look at different perspectives. You know, like you don't have to be in this life. You've chosen a kind of fun life because your soul mission is to like expand your horizon, and that can be from mentally, whatever that means for you, or physically you go somewhere and you'll find success in overseas, because Sagittarius is literally travel, and your North Node is your, like we said, soul mission. So you're kind of supposed to travel, whether that's through the mind, through the body, whatever. You're supposed to travel in some way. And Mars, which represents your drive, is in Sagittarius as well. And so this is telling you, not only are you supposed to be like expanding your horizons, but you actually, you probably feel some kind of unconscious determination to do so. So if you act on that thing that tells you, hey, I should go to this like world market thing in DC or something, or I should go take that trip to Brazil I always wanted to do, something about it. You're supposed to find different perspectives, and that usually helps manifest through traveling or through going to different.
Guess what else? Guess what else though?
What?
She is a successful music teacher that has taught in different markets, and she's also really responsible for opening opportunities for musicians. So what you're saying to her is keep staying on your mission, because there's so much more out here for you to do, which is amazing.
Yeah. Hey, and you Sagittarius, that's the teacher too. Sagittarius, I always think, like we were talking with your human design, Sagittarius influence is telling you can advise others. And people, a lot of famous leaders have a Sagittarius thing, because Sagittarius is gathering other people and talking about your point of view.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
Okay, pause. She has advised Smokey Robinson, Sister Sledge, The Spinners, Dee Dee Shop, Frida Payne, Aretha Franklin, and Jerry Butler.
I mean,
and why have we had Laverne on the show?
Right, where's
Laverne next week? Let's go.
I thought you knew who she was, Mark.
No, I know Laverne.
Okay.
I didn't know all of this stuff.
Thank you, Sandra. Laverne, you got this thing about you where you're supposed to be some kind of leader. Like you just lead through your uniqueness, but also your ability to be intuitive. Like there's so many things I see here. Like, oh, and I also see, okay, now I'm at your chart. So I'm on my website I'm going down to your chart now, of course, which talks about
yes.
Like the first house, second house. So like different areas of life, and your North Node sits in your 11th house. Oh my God, get on a plane. Like seriously, 11th house is, first of all, that is a Sagittarius house, but it's also in your chart. It's in Sagittarius. So your soul mission, like we were saying, expand your horizons. And that's people, like, I don't want to tell people because it's expensive to have to travel. I tell them more so, if you can like even find a book that's like translated from another language, doing that will really help you, because like you're supposed to know because you have that intuitive gift. If you can really connect with other people that you might not identify with, maybe they're from a different country, maybe they speak a different language. If you can connect, that will just strengthen your power, because people see you as this teacher. So it always helps as a teacher to have like different perspectives. So that's like your thing, And also I see your moon. Okay, so 6th house is your daily routine, it's your health. So your moon is placed in your 6th house. So just also make sure you're on top of your health. I know it's a pain, but make sure that you're doing something that makes you feel like, whether that's like doing yoga or whether that's like doing, I don't know, what's it like, exercising your moon, which is your emotions, to connect with other people and to actually feel like emotionally fulfilled. Make sure you're just in tune with like your daily routine, and never like risk your day. Never do something like, if someone says, hey, I don't know, like, can you teach this class? Never be like, okay, I'll put off like doing that face mask or something. No, always choose yourself first, so that you can be the best leader for other people. That's your moon. So that's what you want to do. That's in the 6th house. Is telling you, just make sure you're on top of that health. Make sure you're on top of your routine before you are that teacher and that sage and that like leader for others,
Okay, Laverne, Kevin wants you to come to Colombia. So South America. Okay.
No, I mean, but no, because it's so powerful that she basically just read her whole bio without her knowing that was her bio.
What?
Everything that you kind of just said, because I just put it right there. Please holler at me, because I was familiar with her and I didn't realize her story, the depths of what she has done, and also her mission has already been consultation and advising people, and you're telling her to get back on that path. It's really amazing. We can't even make this up.
It's just,
wow.
Well, I try, and like that Sagittarius influence in the key parts of your chart is just telling you, like you're supposed to really, you're never stop being a student. So you're like not only a student but the teacher, So never like give up that part of your life when you feel like, okay, those days are gone. You don't have to even leave physically. You can literally just go on, like look up a PBS, the PBS UK or something. Like that's a connection with the connection with different perspectives. That's a big part of your life. And that's what singing does too. Like people feel touched by you, even if they don't know you,
So as you can all see, we're all in love with our kids, right?
He's a nice guy.
So, man, thank you. Skylar, you still got some energy. I think some people have already. So you got some energy. So if you want a reading, go to marcclarkemedia.com and you can sign up. And Skylar's she's gonna do 10 today.
Yeah,
and
I'll do 10.
I think 2 or 3 people paid already. So you did those.
And just to let you guys know, to know what you're signing up for, my readings are usually like a video reading. If you want a written reading, it's the same price. I just let me know like through. I don't know if they just hit you and be like,
it's on the site so Skylar, you don't know, but so if you go to Marc Clarke Media, there's a section you put in. They put in information. You put in any notes.
Okay.
So if you want,
Mark already has that covered for you as he gets your money for you.
And
don't worry about that.
And also the time. Put on the time just today, right, Skylar?
Yeah. So today I'm gonna, and if I don't respond, I will do it. I can do it. I just might take a bit longer if it's not.
Because I know you want, because we're going out of town.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You gotta get your nails done.
We are, Mark. Mark, we are. We're going out of town, Mark.
And so
we are.
And Laverne, we need to have Laverne. Laverne, let's have you on with the Father's Day. Let's have you on next week. So Laverne, I will
Google Laverne Washington, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll learn her amazing story. You will be surprised.
Send me an email, Laverne, with your information.
Because nothing gets past Bootsy. I know who everybody is. Sky Dollar Sign, as always, you are absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, Sky. Like, congratulations on everything. What we've already saw from you as a child when you were a toddler trying to talk on Fox 5 is seeing this is like manifesting, but congratulations. And once again, this skill and gift that you possess is not normal. Please do something with it while I harass your mother and father about how they failing you as parents. So.
Thank you, Bootsy. I appreciate you.
What's up, Sean? Sean Jackson coming. Shout out to everybody. We appreciate everybody. I think tomorrow, Skylar sings too. Laverne can.
Yes, I see.
Thank you. Maybe you can break her out. That's another talent booster that she's not exercising.
Oh no! No. Be clear. When I did the theme song for y'all on Mark and Allison in the afternoon, I had her in mind.
Oh, you did that theme song? Oh, period.
Yeah.
See?
I actually.
He did the. Alan Mark in the afternoon.
You
did that.
New move in the afternoon. The new move in the afternoon.
Hey.
Yeah, I wrote and produced the whole thing.
What?
It's the new
Oh
move. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
they didn't even tell you that.
So
I
Bootsy,
didn't know that.
I don't want to seem vain, but
No,
tomorrow,
please don't, Mark.
I'm going to the plastic surgeon.
Oh wow.
To check out my man boobs. And so we may or may not have a show, Bootsy. She's gonna give me an estimate for my gut hang and man boobs.
Man.
No,
your daughter's face right now says it all. Like it's just
terrible.
She's like that's my dad. That's my dad. We gotta love him.
Gut hang and man boobs. What?
Well, you know what? I'm happy because I thought you said I'm gonna go to the plastic surgeon and get Botox. I was like, oh
no, not that. So
you thought your dad would get Botox? That's a whole nother show in the conversation.
Your birth.
So Sean, just go to marcclarkemedia.com and there's a segment there. You see a picture of me. And then a picture of me taking Skylar's money, and then underneath that,
her Cash App information, and then you put everything else in. Okay.
You sign up. You sign up.
I knew something was wrong. That was like, what did you say? He's like, your Cash App, we can't use it. I was like,
Only because Bootsy, she had her whole name out there, right? I didn't want all the name. I said you need to have Sky Readings, a Sky Readings Cash App, correct, Uncle Bootsy?
Yeah. Hold on, Skylar, do not put your whole name out there. Unbeknownst to everybody, my real name is not Bootsy Vegas. My mama didn't name me that, so he's right. He's right about that though, Sky.
Okay.
Sky $. Sky $. You keep that in mind.
Get that with Sky $.
I'm actually hitting with it.
Yeah, Sky $. You know what I mean? That's your new name too. Like that's your new.
Now Kevin got jokes now. Y'all wear D cup. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Whatever that cuspy he was on, whatever cusp Kevin is on, the smart ass side is that's the one. That's who you are, Kevin.
Can I ask Sky? Can I ask Sky one last question before she go? Is that okay? Okay, Sky, please, just for everybody out there, could you tell everybody what your HBCU experience has been through transition? That now you at Norfolk State. There's such tradition in HBCUs. You come from a traditional HBCU. Please, just from a general perspective, can you just elaborate on what your experience has been and what has it been like for you?
Oh, I've actually had a fantastic experience at my new school that I'm at. What has it been like? Well, it's just been amazing. It's just like you look around and like you see people that are trying to do the same thing as you and they actually look like you and not having to explain yourself. And you actually have these professors that actually care and they look at you not as just another statistic. They look at you as a person. It's like day and night. And so I would just, it's funny because I used to be shaky on it because in my mind, when I was a kid, I was like, no, I don't want to go to school where everyone looks like me, or like, who has time for that? But now as I'm older, you realize the value of seeing people that are succeeding that look like you. It's like, it's almost a no-brainer. It's like, how was this not my life? You know what I mean? So it's just been a great experience. And I think, usually if I could measure it, it hasn't been super hectic. If anything, I'm kind of more of a homebody than I thought. Like I do like to just stay in my dorm and study, but it doesn't even matter because even if I had the most boring experience, let's say it was the worst in the world, just the fact that I can see professors that actually, want to support me and like care, it changes everything. It doesn't matter how my own experiences is. It's like it almost feels like we're all in this together. You know what I mean?
Right. And it's interesting because Norfolk State has that tradition of sense of community. I guess my other question would be, since you have been there, have they really expressed and elaborate the historical tradition of Norfolk State? Because people that go to Norfolk State, they will yell, "Behold the green and gold" from across the highway. Have they been really emphasizing the historical tradition that Norfolk State has to you?
So historically, I haven't seen as much as like this is our history, but I have seen a lot of like just pride about the school. It definitely does feel like everyone who goes there, it does feel like they're like, behold. It's like it feels like everyone I meet, especially the alumni, they're like, that was my school, like that's my place. It definitely feels a strong sense of pride. For the history thing, I will say there's a lot, it has a big military influence. So there's a lot of people that are kind of like, they don't really get it. They're like, okay, I'm just here for the military. But the people that do get it, they're definitely, undoubtedly just very proud to be a Spartan, So. And
Boots, I told you that a couple weeks ago when we went to that event where Richard Dyer was the keynote speaker. And, the Bells were there in the neighborhood in D.C., the rec center. What's the neighborhood, Bootsy?
It is Lamont Riggs. I'm sorry,
Lamont Riggs, right. What I noticed was, and I think we definitely, the kids, we lived in Silver Spring, then Bethesda, in not the most diverse neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
But I could tell Skylar really appreciated when she went to it, and you had these people who grew up in this neighborhood who are super successful, but people up into their 100 years old. I think I could see that Skylar really enjoyed being in a room like that because, to be honest, Bootsy, unlike I think how we were raised, the girls sadly didn't really have that. Even from this family, we grew up with the family cookouts with all the family members. Some of them was going
tradition.
Yeah. I realized we missed that. They missed that. And Skylar, I felt like you really did enjoy it. I could tell you kind of enjoyed that space, didn't you?
You mean
and we went to the with Dr. Bell.
Oh yeah, I love that because it was great to see. I just love to see people that rep where they're from, So I feel like even sometimes it was weird. Like even where we grew up, it was kind of like no one really cared about it. They're like, okay, yeah, it's whatever. But when you see people really like, I see Riggs Park, like yeah, like or Riggs Road. When people are like, yeah, this is my city, this is where I'm from. It's so inspiring. It's like, oh my god, like
it's such a community.
And you know what? It made me, Bootsy, realize that what it made me realize was being from Springfield, Illinois, and small town America. I think you just leave. It made me a part of me a little bit sad because all of the things that I ever did was away from my hometown.
Right.
And I grew up in that hometown where what they had at the rec center, I had. I mean, we from South America, everybody, everybody at the rec center, about it, at the church, at high school they went to. And so I just realized I left that and built my life away from that. So I have all those moments are like in different cities, in St. Louis, in Charleston, in Baltimore,
Alabama.
DC. Like Alice is from DC. So it's kind of like she has it. But I look back and I'm like, wow, people don't even know. Like you said, Marc Clarke's not my real name. They know it, but you know what I mean? The Marc Clarke, they don't know Marc Clarke on the radio, whereas Baltimore does, or St. Louis does, or DC does. So
and the interesting thing about her, which I'm fascinated about, because she's such a great communicator just in general. I wonder if people are connecting and getting a great experience from an HBCU, because there are a lot of horror stories about HBCUs as well. Now, Mark, as you know, as the role I play in my job, I have to be the bad cop of steering you in certain directions as well with colleges. Like I've had people ask me, well, why are you sending them to Ivy League school? Because I'm fascinated on, do somebody like a Skylar who has lived in all these diverse multiculturals, is she really getting something out of the HBCU experience? And it's great that she understands that, because when you're a great communicator in the world that we live in, she definitely needs to have an understanding of who she is, where she come from, the issues, and her people. So I love the fact that she is breaking it down with that, because truthfully speaking, from the outside looking in, she could also have another experience. She could have went to other colleges and she would have flourished no matter where she went, because she's a great communicator. So it's just good to know that she is getting something out of her HBCU experience.
Well, and Skylar had, I think Skylar, we at the end of the day, we are definitely, all the kids are going to HBCUs. That was kind of like what we did. And Skylar kind of did probably fight it the most.
Yeah.
But I think, and I think that's the thing when you're young. I think she now, even with the challenges that she faces, I think Skylar now understands why, right? I think you understand now when the light clicked, you finally go, okay, I see why mom and dad were pushing it, because sadly, she did not have diversity at her school.
Well, and you know what? And that's so true. And, I think it's funny because I think people, sadly, I don't think it's a given that you go to an HBCU and you actually love it. I think some people, sadly, I have seen some people.
Oh no, horror stories, horror stories. Yeah.
And they're like, never mind. Because sadly, we don't really like, there's that feeling where it's like, oh, well, this school ain't doing nothing for me, I'm leaving. But it's like, if you can, even me, like the most frustrating time I've had, I think you're like, knowing the value of it, I think helps with it. Because if I were someone else and I was like, this is frustrating, I'm not going here, I'm leaving, then it's like, okay.
But you know what, Bootsy, this is something that this is a whole other show. But when you talk about the Black community, right? I think one of the building blocks, and nowadays you can't even talk about, anything because number one, like we talk about on our show, you don't have enough time.
Yeah.
You don't have enough time to put things in context, right?
Great point.
So then when these things flare up and people are super passionate about it, and I understand, there's usually not enough people, or there's not a perspective that calms the conversation to at least help you understand where that person's coming through. Right. So my first example of this would be growing up in Springfield, raised by a single Black mother who said to me when it was time to date, and I think what she did was brilliant, because she did not say, don't date white people, or don't bring no white girl home, or don't da-da-da. She said, Larry, as a woman who's raising a Black boy and trying to give him the best life, I would hope that you could give a Black girl that same thing, that you could build that same thing in your life.
She said that? That's amazing.
Yes. So by approaching it that way, and sisters hate this conversation because we would have it. When I was as a kid, who was feeling me? White girls and old black women.
Right.
I had girls who were friends, but they were not necessarily into me that way.
Right.
But I chose not to go with the easy route because I was in the back of my mind. I was like, no, you know what I mean? Yeah, I could have been with Becky, but I'm not going to be with Becky, because,
right. I know what you mean. I totally get it.
And we don't have this conversation because it was almost like I understood there was something put in my head that made me think that way. I think HBCUs are kind of the same way. When I worked at Howard, and as we all know, Howard can be a mess. It's amazing. It's the Mecca, but inside the machine, come on now. So I never forget when I was working at HUR and I went to the gym. So your son or daughter is being recruited by Division I teams that have facilities that are like pro facilities.
Right.
When I went over to the Howard gym and I saw that damn Nautilus equipment, you couldn't believe it. Let me tell you something. Nautilus. I worked at the YMCA when Nautilus came out. I was 19. When the Nautilus system came out, I was 19 years old. There's no damn way that Howard's physical facility for these athletes should have any Nautilus over there. So the only way that a kid would choose that is if your parents, like we do with Skylar, have the conversation about the value of HBCU. Now, what's the value? The value is a media person like myself who went to SIU Carbondale State Institution. I did everything you could possibly do at SIU Carbondale. I did not go to HBCU, and I wish I did. The difference is I do not ever go back to SIU Carbondale. I don't visit. I don't go see. I don't go check up. I don't, whatever. If I went to Howard, I'd be back every year for homecoming. If I went to Hampton, I'd be back every year for homecoming. There's a relationship there with your peers and friends that will last a lifetime. And so, but it's the conversation. And
you can bond over. I think you bond over how messy he was. Like that's like you know
what I'm saying. But I do understand, and that what's happening now is these predominantly white schools are now definitely coming after our students because HBCUs are hot right now, and so they're starting to lose some of their great students.
But also, I think what's fascinating about her is the fact that she comes from a highly educated house where there is an expectation, and literally, I know she probably hears it all the time. There's a plaque of her mama in the building at Hampton when you walk in. So, but it's interesting that she decided.
Exactly. And you're right, Bootsy. There's no plaque. You're right. There is no plaque at SIU Carbondale. In fact, even though
it won't be.
Out of all those people who majored in radio television, there's only a couple of us, regardless of color, who are in it as a pro. And I never even get a nobody even talks to me. But you want to hear
something interesting? But for some reason, BCC ain't really invited and extended their hand to Allison yet, which is still where you can kind of learn these dynamics and how they work and the importance of it. You know what I mean? Because it's so very interesting. But it's just good to know that somebody like a Skylar got to choose her own path, and she gets to see the value of what you guys been really instilling in her. So it's great because the HBCU experience is not always a great thing, but for her to have this level of understanding and can convey the value of it is really great. And I think that's what needs to be promoted when it comes to HBCUs, that sense of community, historical value, or whatever. So that's always fascinated about that.
Well, this is our longest show ever. Thank you, Skylar. You did it. Bootsy Vegas.
All right.
Have a great one tomorrow. We probably just to play this show back, Bootsy, because I have an appointment with a plastic surgeon and my man boobs.
He definitely gonna get a dad joke in on his way out, Skylar. No. You know he gonna get one on his way out. Skylar, Scott Dollar Sign. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Bootsy. Happy birthday.
Thank you, my good friend. Hey,
all right.
Hey.